Yeah, trying to work on a deep space capsule. But yeah, we'll jump into space news. Honestly, you feel like garbage. Oh, ouch. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break, and we'll do EJ's space and rocket review, and then Icarus, I think, is what I said I would play after. So we'll work on stuff in Icarus, I suppose, and then we'll go from there. It's nice watching you have fun with KSP again. Thanks, man. Yeah, I just kind of got to mess with it for a little while. So yeah, good space discussions and stuff, and now we'll get even more space discussions here during space news. All right. I'm glad the break helped. Yeah. It did. Yeah. Oh, it's all right. It's okay. How about that landing sim that Not Wario posted? We'll talk about that on the other end of break. In the meantime, I think how about a remarkable flying machine? My favorite. All right, I'll be back momentarily.
Sunday, April 12th, 1981. Kennedy Space Center, Florida. The Space Shuttle. 14 stories high, 2,000 tons, poised on the pad for its maiden flight. This is Columbia, the spaceship that will orbit the Earth. Its external tank. It holds over 500,000 gallons of fuel for Columbia's 3 main engines. And the solid rocket boosters, the largest ever used on any launch vehicle and the first to be employed in a U.S. manned flight. At liftoff, the solid rocket boosters, together with the 3 main engines, will unleash more than 6.5 million pounds of thrust needed to launch the world's first reusable spacecraft. Never before has a winged vehicle been launched like a rocket, orbited the Earth, returned through frictional heating in excess of 2,500 degrees, and landed, still aerodynamically sound, to be launched again and again. If it succeeds, the space shuttle will truly be a remarkable flying machine. There are many other goals to be reached during the 54.5-hour mission that lies ahead. 144 test objectives are planned for the flight. These objectives could not be achieved without an astronaut crew. The commander, John Young. The pilot, Robert Crippen. Young has already been in space 4 times for a total of 533 hours. He is the most experienced astronaut flying today. Although Crippen has over 4,000 hours of jet aircraft flying time, this will be his first time in space. The astronauts make their way across the access arm toward the shuttle in the pre-dawn hours before launch. An American spaceship has never carried a human crew on its maiden voyage. At the Launch Control Center, 3 miles from the pad, final steps are being completed in the countdown. Final preparations are also being made in the Mission Control Center in Houston, where control of the flight will switch once the shuttle clears the tower. There has not been a manned launch from Kennedy Space Center since the Apollo-Soyuz test project in July of 1975. With this launch, Young and Crippen, launch controllers at the Cape, and flight controllers in Houston will experience the most dynamic, fast-paced series of launch events ever undertaken in the space program. all in less than 9 minutes. The most challenging ascent profile ever to be flown by a space vehicle. Photographers, film and television crews, plus newspaper and magazine writers from around the world, nearly 2,700 of them are here to cover the launch. In addition, approximately 600,000 spectators line the coastal area near the Kennedy Space Center. Arriving by every mode of transportation, they have come from every state in the Union and many foreign countries. The promise of a rebirth in America's manned space program and the dawn of a new era in space transportation awaits.
14, 13, T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We've gone for main engine start.
Roger, roll.
The roll will put the shuttle on its precise heading toward an imaginary target in space.
Roll program complete.
Roger, roll complete. Get a status, Fido. Go. Booster, go. GNC, go. Eagle, go. Go at 40, Capcom. Columbia, Houston, you're go at 40.
The shuttle is now 40 seconds into flight.
Roger, Columbia, on the nice ride. You're lofting a little bit. You'll probably be slightly high at staging. Negative seats. Columbia, you're negative seats.
Should anything go wrong, the shuttle is now too high for the astronauts to use their ejection seats.
Columbia, you're go for SRB step.
We see SRB step flight.
Roger, on a step.
103 converge flight.
Bet. Capcom, let's tell them all the calls are going to be a tad early because of the hot first stage. Columbia, you're looking a little hot. All your calls will be a little early.
Okay. And that looks good here. Stand by, press to MECO.
Columbia, stand by. Press to MECO.
Mark it.
Mark. Press for MECO.
Roger, press for MECO.
The shuttle can now continue toward MECO, main engine cutoff.
They like the VAP, Eagle. ECOM.
Let's go, flight.
Capcom, VAPs go.
Stand by, negative return.
Columbia, stand by for negative return.
Mark it.
Mark. Negative return. And your VAP is good.
Outstanding. Sure is. We can confirm it. What a view. And single engine rota flight.
And Columbia, your single engine rota.
Columbia can land safely at the Naval Air Station in Rota, Spain, even if 2 of the 3 main engines should fail. Right now, the engines are generating over 42 million horsepower.
MECO 25, 6,
MECO.
0, up at 220.
Roger, MECO.
And we got MECO confirmed.
MECO, Roger, Columbia, MECO. Right on the money, nominal.
Main engine cutoff. Columbia is now in space, traveling over 18,000 miles per hour.
Okay, we got SEP.
Roger, we confirm the SEP, Columbia.
The external tank has just been jettisoned and is now falling away from the shuttle back toward Earth. The tank will break up as planned over the Indian Ocean when it comes into contact with the atmosphere. Shortly, by firing the OMS, Orbital Maneuvering System engines, Columbia will achieve orbit. Then one of the most important tests of the mission will be attempted, opening the payload bay doors. The doors must be opened before the end of the 6th orbit to expose the space radiator cooling system. If the radiators cannot be exposed, heat collected from the onboard electronics cannot be released, and the astronauts will have to return home. The OMS burns are successful. Columbia is now in orbit, circling the Earth at an altitude of approximately 150 miles. The payload bay doors will now be opened.
Okay, the port door's coming open now.
Roger, copy.
Well, you are missing one fantastic sight. Boy, that is really beautiful out there.
We appreciate those updates.
Both doors have been opened. The radiators can be deployed to begin dissipating the heat.
The doors are all opened up and hunky-dory. Labs are deployed right on time.
And the radiators look good.
Okay, we want to show you our own pods here. We do have a few tile missing off of both of them. Off of the starboard pod, 3 tile and some smaller pieces, and off the port pod, looks like I see one full square and looks like a few little triangular shapes that are missing, and we're trying to put that on TV right now.
Roger, Crip, we can see that good.
From what we can see of both wings, tops and leading edges, though, there's all those are fully intact.
Within minutes, an assessment is completed on the impact these missing tiles could have on the remainder of the mission. At a news conference later in the day, Flight Director Neil Hutchison answers questions from reporters.
But you asked me if I knew where there were any other tiles that might be loose. The answer is no. And quite frankly, we're not worried about any other tiles being loose.
At this writing, is there anything at all that would lead you to say you might not go for a full duration mission?
Nothing.
Columbia, Houston, you guys did so good, we're going to let you stay up there for a couple of days. Your gopher on orbit.
Spacecraft let's go for on orbit. This thing is just performing just outstanding.
Roger, we agree with that. And Columbia, Houston, just for your information, you dropped those SRBs right on target, and they were floating just the way they ought to be, and the boats were getting ready to fish them and bring them back.
Okay. The ride that they gave us was pretty neat.
The solid rocket boosters, which separated from the Columbia as planned 2 minutes 11 seconds into the flight, landed on target in the Atlantic Ocean, 151 miles downrange from the launch site. After being towed back to Kennedy Space Center, both boosters will be refurbished and used again in a future shuttle flight. The 3rd and 4th OMS burns are also successful, raising Columbia's orbit to an altitude of approximately 172 miles. For the first television transmission from inside the spacecraft, the crew will give a status report on the mission.
The flight so far has gone as smooth as it could possibly go. We've done every test that we're supposed to do, and we're up on the timeline, and the vehicle has just been performing beautifully, much better than anyone ever expected to do on a first flight, and no systems are out of shape. And it's delightful up here in zero gravity, might add. Of course, we owe this to a lot of people, and we certainly want to thank everyone who has helped get this thing airborne and take great pride in it's doing so well right now. Okay, we're switching over to the aft camera here. Yeah, I'd like to echo John's words as I usually do. I guess being the so-called rookie on this flight, I had a thrill from the moment of liftoff all the way up to what we're doing now. It's really been super. The spacecraft has worked as advertised all the way along. I think we've got something that's really going to mean something to the country and the world. This vehicle is performing like a champ, like all of us that have worked so long on it knew that you would.
Okay, sure, we appreciate those comments.
I guess that does it.
That was a good time, and I think you must have practiced. We're just about to lose your ghost song.
Just accident.
Just accident, says Robert Crippen. None of the other events of the day have been accidental. Every test, liftoff, SRB separation and recovery, ET separation and impact, 4 ohms burns, payload bay door latch opening and closing tests, radiator latch deploy and stowing tests have all been successful.
I guess we owe you guys one super attaboy for today. This is fantastic. You worked through a pretty long, hard day, and you're essentially right on schedule, which is going to be close to being a first sort of spaceflight biz, I think, for first day activities. It's sure been fun working with you today, and we look forward to seeing you in the morning. I hope you get a good night's rest.
Okay, you guys did super work today. See you mañana.
Roger, thank you. See you tomorrow, guys.
Well, many hour went into this thing. A job well done by the shuttle space team. We can't say that she's sleek and lean, but I'll tell you right now, she's a mean machine. The Columbia, not the kind you smoke. This here's a bird.
Morning, Columbia. Welcome to day 2.
All right. Appreciate that super wake-up music this morning. Well, we sure enjoyed it. Missing a good breakfast.
Today, the astronauts will test onboard systems and also review procedures for tomorrow's landing. A test of the flight control system is conducted by John Young. The flight control system operates Columbia's aerosurfaces, the elevons, body flaps, rudder, and speed brake. These surfaces are useless in the vacuum of space, but will be essential tomorrow when the shuttle lands. This will require precision maneuverability, which the aerosurfaces provide. Payload bay door cycling tests help ensure that latching and closing procedures can also be done before entry tomorrow. As with every mission, many pictures of the Earth are taken by the astronauts. Over 500 on this first shuttle flight. Active volcanoes, cloud formations, alluvial fans, giant whirlpools over 15 miles in diameter, sand dunes 1,500 feet high, running unbroken for hundreds of miles. The high Himalayas, where mountain peaks reach 24,000 feet. And one of the most remarkable space photographs ever taken of the Earth, an area in Iran exposed to wind erosion, which has resulted in these breathtaking silt and sandstone formations that look more like a painting than a desert. After lunch on the second day, the astronauts receive a phone call from the Vice President of the United States, George Bush.
How's it going up there? Everything rocking along all right?
Spaceship is just performing beautifully.
Well, it's great, and everybody views it, I'm sure, just as the forerunner of great things to come. I think your trip is just going to ignite the excitement and the forward thinking from this country, so I really just wanted to call up and wish you the very best.
We certainly appreciate it, Mr. Vice President.
The crew also don and check out the ejection suits they will wear during entry. Young, Crippen, and Columbia pass every test. They are ready for the final phase of the mission, entry and landing. April 14th, 1981. NASA's Dryden Flight Research Center on the edge of Rogers Dry Lake Bed in California. A recovery convoy of 24 vehicles and more than 100 personnel are assembling here to power down Columbia after landing. Enormous crowds are also beginning to arrive. A string of traffic 6 miles long waits to enter the base. Thousands more are already here. Close to 1/2 million people will eventually be on hand to see the landing. On board, the astronauts suit up for entry. The ascent and orbital phases of the mission have gone extremely well. Now the final phase must be completed. Before that begins,
Columbia, you have a go for payload bay door closing.
the doors, which have been open a total of 47 hours during the flight, must now be closed. Then, using the RCS thrusters, Columbia will maneuver into deorbit burn attitude, head down and backwards, fire the OMS engines one last time, and descend into the Earth's atmosphere.
Nice and easy does it, John. We're all riding with you.
Columbia is out of contact during the OMS burn. Mission Control will not know if this burn was successful until they are in communication with the spacecraft over Australia. It is now over the Indian Ocean on the other side of the world, but from that distance the burn must be precise so that later Columbia will hit the lake bed target in California.
Columbia, this is Houston through Yargady. We're standing by.
Burn was on time at nominal reserve 110.
Columbia is now committed to entry. With an RCS post-burn maneuver and several firings, it is oriented to a heads-up, nose-first attitude headed toward entry interface. This is where the atmosphere begins, at approximately 400,000 feet. From that moment until the shuttle reaches 165,000 feet, it will be in communication blackout, out of touch with Mission Control for almost 20 minutes. The landing site is almost 4,400 miles from entry interface. Chase planes are preparing to take off. One will call out altitudes and check Columbia for any damage just prior to landing. When the shuttle touches down here, it will be traveling at 216 miles per hour. Right now it's going more than 17,000 miles per hour. Before it lands, it must slow down, lose energy, and it must survive the intense heat caused by traveling through the atmosphere at such a high rate of speed. Several S-turns or roll reversals are used to slow down and maneuver Columbia through the atmosphere. This one is done at 256,000 feet when it is traveling at more than 26 times the speed of sound. This one is done at 208,000 feet. During these two roll reversals, entry heating is most severe, with temperatures reaching 2,500 degrees some places on the vehicle. The aluminum skin will melt at 320 degrees. The silicate tiles must insulate the vehicle from the tremendous heat. Since there is no test facility on Earth to simulate the aerodynamic and structural environment Columbia is in right now, only calculations could be used to predict what would happen during this phase of the flight.
I'm back. I inhaled some
The
rice.
predictions and calculations had to be right.
I can't inhale rice. Just
Hello,
thought I'd let you know.
Houston, Columbia's here.
Hello, Columbia, Houston's here. How do you read?
Land clear, and we're doing Mach 10.3 at 180 AS.
And we couldn't agree more, John. Your state vector's good. We've got good data in-house.
Okay.
The entry trajectory, velocity, and
It was
position
good, yes.
look good. Columbia is heading for home, now only 470 miles away.
Meal prep.
RCS, but okay.
Right, we're showing a roll. And John, we're showing you rolling right. Looking good.
Right, I'm on roll.
We're showing him crossing
Yeah.
the coastline.
Shit, I
Columbia, we
forgot
show
to
you
do that.
crossing the coast now.
Right, yeah.
When we come to California.
The shuttle is first sighted at about 100,000 feet with a long-range camera from Anderson Peak, California.
What a way to come to California.
And
It's
flat
the best
meadow,
part.
that still looks perfect right on the nominal. Roger that. Out of 112K, 4.8 Mach.
We'll see if that's in a row.
There's Bakersfield right there.
We see Delaz 21 degrees.
A roll reversal is done over Bakersfield, California.
What was the layout of the cabin seat area at full capacity? 4 on the flight deck, 3 on the mid deck. You could also run 3 on the flight deck, 4 on the mid deck if you needed to. Or you could do 4 and 4. They only did it once though.
Trace has a tally.
Roger, check.
Yeah, me too, Staples.
And we're seeing 1.3 Gs coming around the hack.
Roger that.
Hey yo, bring her around.
The astronauts are making the final turn to line up with the runway.
Columbia, you're really looking good. Right on the money. Right on the
There's
money.
Edwards.
And turning on to final, your winds on the surface are calm.
Back on the west.
You're right on the glide slope, Columbia.
This is a remarkable flying machine, Jantage.
Looks real good underneath.
Everything looked real
Looks
good.
real good.
Chase reports no tile or other damages evident underneath the shuttle. Columbia's altitude is now just over 5,000 feet.
Yeah, Mike, right. Here we go.
Pretty clear.
Without power, Columbia must land.
Dude, nosedives
Cannot
at the
make another
runway,
attempt.
man.
You're coming.
You're down.
You're down.
That's dope. That's the freaking coolest thing I've ever seen. What a
50 feet.
shot.
40, 30, 20, 10, 5, 4,
What's up, G-Core?
3, 2, 1. Touchdown. That was
John
good.
Young greased the landing. First try. What a legend.
5, 4, 3. Touchdown. Hook 'em off, skipper.
Houston, Columbia's on the rollout.
Houston, Columbia's on the rollout.
Welcome home, Columbia. Beautiful, beautiful.
Damn, that's cool. What a piece of
Take it
engineering.
up to hangar, Joe.
What a piece of engineering that is.
We're going to dust it off first.
You gotta dust it off first.
World's greatest all-electric flying machine, I'll tell you that. It was super.
Unbelievable. No shoots. Nope. That comes later.
Okay, convoy's on its way.
Convoy on. We'll stop on the Columbia. We'll stop.
The maiden voyage of Columbia has been a success.
Pausing it for a second.
The
Look at this shot. And I know I always point this out every time we look at this, but look at the people. Look at the people and look at the trucks. And then look at the shuttle. That thing is big. It's big. It's freaking huge. Look at the guys in the scape suits. Those guys got scape suits on. Not space suits, scape suits. They're getting the fuel, the remaining RCS fuel, out of the OMS pods. That's what this vehicle and that's what that the stair truck is for. But look at the dudes in the suits. The thing is absolutely gigantic. It's bigger than you think it is. That's right, Staples. Yep. Did that landing happen yesterday? It was 42 years ago. I need Von Braun for scale. Good reference.
The astronauts and the vehicle have met or exceeded all 144 flight test objectives. The integrity of all the systems, propulsion, avionics, structural, flight control, power, and thermal, have been affirmed. John Young's comments after returning home.
I can't tell you what a tribute that is to the American working man and the American working woman too.
You
can't
I'm
imagine
shake your
the
hand,
variety
man.
of people who work
Yeah,
on this
you ever
vehicle,
shake your hand.
from all walks of life,
Look at this
all
thing.
capabilities and
Oh,
limitations.
that was
It's all
awesome.
due to their individual efforts. They prove that they can do the job. They proved it for the world to see. And I'm mighty proud to be associated with folks like that.
What a tribute indeed.
He's
The
so
Columbia
excited.
represents
That's my
an
favorite
achievement
part,
in
Paper.
aerospace
Look at,
technology
he's walking
and
around. They're like,
development never before
they're
realized
like, you need to
in
come
the
over
history
here.
of manned spaceflight.
And he's like, nah, I'm good.
It is our basic building block for the future.
It's what we've been trying to do for the last 10 years. We've got
Anybody
a
over
vehicle
here? You
with
guys did
payload
good. All right,
performance
cool.
that will
Yeah!
allow us to do that, much cheaper than we've been able to do it before. It will immeasurably improve the defensive capability of the country. It will help develop space science and technology. When we get operational, the space shuttle will be able to do in 5 to 10 years what it would have taken us.
What did Cripps say? Hold on. He said something coming down. What did he say?
Space
He
science
says
and
something.
technology.
Hold on. I'll tell you in a second, Kieran.
When we get operational, the space shuttle will be able to do in 5 to 10 years.
That's one hell of a ride. God damn, boy. That's what, dude, that's what he said. Look it. Watch. Watch.
It will help develop space science and
Watch.
technology. When we get operational, the space shuttle
One hell of a
will be able to
ride.
do in
Damn,
5
boy.
to 10 years what it would have taken us.
Yep. Damn, boy. That's what he said. Cheek dick, boy. Yeah, that must, dude, can you imagine landing the shuttle for the first time in real life, getting off? Dude, I would feel like a freaking rock star. You'd just be like, That's awesome. That was awesome. I saw, God damn. Yeah, that's right. He said something. He's like, oh, damn, boy. Yeah, I know. Give me two. What's that spinning fan on the truck? Power system. Yeah, Buzz Aldrin's birthday is today. That's
20
right.
to 30 years to do otherwise.
Pen flip.
We couldn't do it if we didn't have the space shuttle and that payload capability. And the sooner we do those things, the better off the country's going to be.
Damn right.
A revolutionary new era in space transportation has just begun.
Can I just watch the John Young thing one more time? Just when he gets out of the shuttle. It's the freaking best part. It's my favorite part, dude. You just got here. Watch it without the VO. It's ridiculous. Kiranov, if you want to know the difference between the size of the shuttle and the and Starship, all right, you needn't go no further than right here. Starship is the size of the external tank, the white tank. So you see the size of the external tank? That's how big Starship is. Yep. Yeah, Starship is about the size of the ET. Yeah, crazy, right? Super Heavy is as big as an SLS core stage, which is... An external tank's about 2/3 the size of an SLS core stage. They extended it for SLS so it can boost more stuff into space, dude. It's beast. Starship's no joke, man. Hang on, I gotta see the John Young thing one more time. It just makes me so freaking happy. So, okay, watch it without sound. All right, watch John Young. If you've seen this, then you know. But if you haven't seen this, watch this. John Young was my favorite astronaut, man. Watch him. Oh man, you see that thing, man? You see that thing coming down? Oh man, what a piece of equipment this thing is. You get over here. I'm gonna shake your hand, sir. I'm gonna shake your hand. I'm gonna shake your hand. You guys did great. You guys did great. Did you see this thing? Oh damn, man. Oh, this thing's a beast. Yeah. Man, you see that over there? Yeah, man, look at that. Look at that. And the scientists are like, John, no, come. You got to come back to the truck. He's like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. I want to go look at this. You can't go over there. There's hydrazine. Yeah. What are the guys in escape suits doing? What are they doing over there? Oh, wait. Yep, that's hydrazine. Yep, don't want to go near. Get thumbs up. All right. All right. You guys did good. It's like he realized that you shouldn't go over there because there's toxic chemicals. That's why the guys have spacesuits on. He's like, yep. Oh, yep. Can't get over there. Thumbs up for you. Bye-bye. That's the best, man. So, here's the thing. The reason why this part's so cool is because John Young never smiled. He was the Kimi Räikkönen of astronauts. He never smiled. Ever. Ever. The guy was one of only a handful of people that's been out of low Earth orbit 2 times. John Young went out on Apollo 10 out to the moon to test the LEM before they landed, and then went back and landed on Apollo 16. And then he flew the space shuttle he was the first guy to fly the space shuttle. And then after that, he was the first guy to fly the space shuttle twice. He flew on STS-1 and STS-9. He was going for a 7th mission to deploy the Hubble Space Telescope. And then Challenger happened, and then he said, "Meh, never mind. I don't need to do this anymore." I've watched thousands of press footage of John Young. That's the only time I've ever seen him lose his composure. He's like, "This thing is amazing." Oh yeah, and before the Apollo missions, he flew 2 Gemini missions as well. What was it, Gemini? I think it was Gemini 2 and Gemini 12. He flew with Michael Collins on Gemini 12, and then he flew with Gus Grissom on 2. Was it 3, Tech? It's 3 and 10, I think. Or I always get the Gemini missions confused. 3 with, yeah, that's right, because 2 and 1 were uncrewed. That's right. It was 3 and 10, I think. But yeah, I mean, John Young was the real life Jebediah Kerman. The guy's my hero. That's my hero, man. Yeah. 3 and 10, dude. 3 and 10. So Gemini 3, Gemini 10, Apollo 10, Apollo 16, STS-1, STS-9. Unreal. What a career. I wonder what his heart rate was on the moon. Nothing. They took his heart rate during the shuttle launch, 80 BPM. He was just like, "Man, this is nice. This thing's never flown before. Yeah, this is cool." Compare that to his co-pilot, Crip. Crip's heart rate was like 120 or something. Yeah, wait for real. Dude, go look this up. Flight surgeon was monitoring his heart rate the entire mission. Guy never lost his cool, ever. Going to the moon, flying on the shuttle. That's the only time I've ever seen him smile. He's the real-life Jebediah Kerman, man. When he passed, it bothered me a lot. He passed a couple of years ago. Yeah, that pissed me off. I was not happy. That guy is my hero. He took a nap during the Saturn V flight. Yeah, pretty much. He was just absolute Chad tier individual. Anyway, did he do any experimental jet testing before the shuttle? He didn't. No, John Young was, I think he was a Navy guy, if I'm remembering right. John Young ain't dead. He just went home. Yep. Wake me up when we're in orbit. What a Chad. What a Chad. Like, unbelievable. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, real men don't smile, you know. No, he smiled with the shuttle. He smiled for the shuttle because the shuttle was nuts. Can you imagine going from capsules to that? Like, seriously, going from a capsule that splashes down in the ocean. Going from a capsule that splashes down in the ocean to this. Are you kidding me? Like, that is not a jump in tech. That's a leap. Like, that thing is so much more capable than an Apollo capsule. I understand the Apollo capsule can get to the moon, and that's what makes it better, but... Like, man. Guys, this thing was the first attempt That thing is a first attempt at a reusable vehicle. A first attempt. You know, there wasn't any, like, mini shuttle prototype. No. Just built that right off the bat. All right. That's the first, you're looking at the first ever reusable space plane. Ever. First ever reusable space anything. That's crazy.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
That's insane for a first attempt. The fact that it was as good as it actually was is nothing short of miraculous. Why can't this get on the moon?
Go at throttle up.
It's too heavy, Nucleotron. You'd need a much bigger rocket. The shuttle wasn't designed to go out to the moon itself. It was designed to build spacecraft in low Earth orbit, like the space station, with transfer stages, and then go out to the moon with those. They never did it though. They wanted to, but they never did. I've read Forever Young. Yeah, multiple times, Buck. I'm still crying after the shuttle. Okay, I'm not here. Yeah, me too. How can this big boy fly like a plane? It's too heavy. Well, Joe, I wouldn't say this thing flies like an airplane. It more skips off the atmosphere. Well, not skips off the atmosphere. It's more like trying to make a rock float. Think about if you have a rock, right? And you throw it into a lake. How do you get that rock to float? You go really, 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 really freaking fast. And it'll skip off the surface a couple of times, right? And then when it slows down enough, it's going to sink. The shuttle does the same thing. The only reason it even lands like a plane for a second, is just for a slight second if you nosedive the thing at the runway. Nosedive it at the runway. You can pull up and gain enough speed to zero out your vertical speed for maybe a couple seconds. Yeah. It does not fly. It's like skipping a rock over a lake and, yeah, hoping you stay floating for a little while. So you needn't look no further than the screen here. Look at the shuttle's angle of attack. I know it looks right because we're used to seeing it, but look at where that nose is pointed. That's like 10 degrees pointed down. Planes don't fly at the runway like this. The shuttle nosedives at the runway, though. Watch this footage right here. This should tell you everything you need to know. Joe, take a look at the runway. Look at the runway, look at the heading. You can kind of make out where the ground is from looking at the lines, right? Watch how the shuttle approaches the runway. Literally a nosedive at the runway. And then you pull up, you flare at the last second, and it barely has enough speed for like maybe 10 to 15 seconds of gliding, and then it'll fall out of the sky. Yep. See, then what the shuttle is designed to do, so NASA and Rockwell, the company that made this, did a little bit of aerodynamic trickery here, okay? The key is the shuttle's wing, all right? This is the reason why it can fly for like maybe a split second, right? So the shuttle's wing has a sort of like armpit right here. You see that? It's like the wing does like something like this, and you have not the armpit, but like the inside of the elbow of the wing right there, right? That's the key. That's what makes the thing, when you nose up, that's what makes it zero out its vertical speed. That's what makes it fly for like maybe a split second, okay? The reason is because air is coming up over this, right? And that shape right there, this shape in the wing, I call it the armpit. That's not what it's called, but that armpit part of the wing swirls the air over the top of the wing. It creates a huge vortex over the top of the wing, and that generates insane drag on top of it. It generates insane drag on top of the wing, and then because the shuttle has a high angle of attack, you bring the nose up at the last second, and you really bring it up, right? You get crazy high pressure underneath the wing, and then crazy drag coming over the top of the wing, because the armpit swirls the air over the top of the wing. But you got to remember, drag is a product of lift. Because it swirls the air over the top, it can't do that for very long. That drag is doing, well, just what it says it's doing. It's creating a ton of drag, and it really slows you down. But it generates a lot of lift. But it only does it for like a split second. Like, not a split second, maybe like 10 to 15 seconds, somewhere around there. if you don't nail the runway after those 10 to 15 seconds, the shuttle will fall out of the sky like a brick. It'll just... It's only designed to work for like maybe a little bit. You could really see the armpit of the wing. It's designed to swirl the air over the top of the wing. Is the landing aided with computers, or is it landed manually? Manually. It's manual, Maka. John Young is flying that thing right now. You can tell he's flying it. You can tell he's flying because if you look at the nosedive footage again, he makes a slight correction. He rolls right before the runway. Watch. No, it's not really a decent glider. You have to nosedive at the runway and pull up at the very last second, or else you crash. And if you pull up the nose too early, you also crash. There's a reason why they practiced this for a long time. See, John Young made a little bit of a course correction there. He rolled right just for a second to get it nice and lined up down the center line. And then he'll drop the gear and then bring the nose of the shuttle way up. See? He brings the nose of the shuttle way up, and now you're creating huge amounts of high pressure underneath the lifting body part of the shuttle, and the wings are swirling the air over the top and creating insane drag up here. And that's what gives it enough lift, but it's only for a second because you're a glider. Why not bigger wings? Wait, Joe. Wait, what are you gonna do with the bigger wings? This is enough. You don't need bigger wings. You got to remember that, guys. Joe, you're thinking about this wrong. You're thinking about this wrong. You only need enough wing to put it on the runway. That's it. You don't need any more wing. So what are you going to do? Make this brick fly better? Lipstick on a pig at that point, dude. They only need a wing big enough to be able to get it to zero out its vertical speed for like a split second. That's why the shuttle has those little stubby wings on the side. They don't look stubby, but they're pretty stubby. You don't need more wing. That's enough. That's enough wing. Any more wing, you're adding needless weight. I was wondering why they lowered the gear so much. Now, Shifty, once they touch the wheels down, they keep the nose of the shuttle up. They keep it up, and it basically turns the entire bottom of the shuttle into a huge speed brake. They're using the natural aerodynamics of the lifting body to slow it down, basically, and then they'll bring the nose down. Another way that you can tell that John's actually flying this is watch the rear control surfaces when he brings the nose down. Watch the elevons on the shuttle right here in this next shot. Did you see it? I'll show you again. Watch the rear control surface. You can see the corrections that he made. See him? Go up for a second, and then they go right back down. And then he pulls, the speed brake was already open, but... What do you think of that shuttle they designed in the show For All Mankind? Does the hull look viable to you? No. Kiranov, nuclear propulsion is a thing in real life, but making a nuclear-powered SSTO shuttle generally isn't a good idea. Usually, with all the designs that I've seen about nuclear-powered spacecraft, you usually keep the people away from the nuclear things, because nuclear things. So having a nuclear engine, honestly, that close to the cockpit of a shuttle would be a little strange. Yeah, it would be a little strange because you'd send astronauts out to the moon and then you'd get a bunch of ghouls coming back. Yeah, For All Mankind, dude. I hate season 2 of For All Mankind. I hate it. I hate it a lot. For a few frames, the spiral, the vortex on top of the wing is visible. Let me see. Oh, yep. Yep, there it is. Look at it swirl the air. I think that might be from the background. Though, don't get me wrong, the landing gears are swirling the air too. They're definitely... The landing gears cause an insane amount of drag. Yeah, Motorkid, it took For All Mankind, which was plausibly realistic, and turned it into The Expanse, which I'm just like, oh, okay. Great. It's crazy, dude. Unbelievable piece of engineering. Unbelievable. What that thing did was just nothing short of insane. Rip The Expanse, by the way. Yeah, I wasn't too big of a fan, but yeah, look, you can see him. You can see the control surfaces moving. The control surfaces are probably moving because John Young's in the cockpit going, yeah, and probably hitting him by accident. Oh, sorry. That's season 1, though, Tessa, where they, actually paid attention to the scientific accuracy. Why didn't they release the parachute? Shuttle didn't fly with a parachute for the first 10 years, Capybara. The amount of people that talk smack about the shuttle are not Team Space. Or they don't understand the engineering, Roro. It's a hard concept for people to understand, dude. I've already mentioned this once this stream already, but I can't drive the point home enough. Engineering is application-based. Application-based. So when I hear someone say, oh, the shuttle should have had an abort system in it, that demonstrates to me fundamentally that people don't understand, that person doesn't understand that engineering is about applications. So what does that mean? The shuttle was designed to be an airplane that flies into space. It's not a rocket that flies into space. It's an airplane that flies into space. Starship's trying to do the same thing. The idea was to operate the shuttle like a 737 or a 747. So you land it, take the payload out, put new payload in, stack it again on the external tank with the boosters, and send it again. They had envisioned flying the shuttle literally once a week. Once a week up into space. So if you're going to fly a lot, if you're going to fly that much, right? An abort system makes no sense because that's just another thing that you need to check out between flights. It's the exact same reason why a 737 or an Airbus 320 doesn't have parachutes on it or ejector seats. It doesn't make sense. You achieve the safety through the reliability through high frequency of flights because engineering is about application. They were trying to make a reusable space plane. Something that could be turned around real quick. That was the whole idea. So launch escape system doesn't make sense. And anybody that says, oh, this should have a launch escape system on it. No. That's about as weird as saying a 737 should have ejector seats. How useless would a 737 be if it had ejection seats for all 200 passengers? That would be ridiculous. You wouldn't be able to take any carry-ons. Your ejector seat would be the carry-on. And what happens ejecting 100 seats out of an airplane all at once? That's dangerous. Right? So you would never be able to fly that 737 as much if you had ejector seats for every person. The plane would spend most of the time on the ground making sure the ejector seats are working correctly. Right? See what I'm talking about? That's what they were trying to do with the shuttle. Because engineering is application based, right? They were trying to make something that flies into space routinely. And in that, if you look at it through that lens, abort systems make no sense. But then we got cold feet after that, and yeah, O-rings. Not cold feet, cold O-rings. But it's not the O-rings that caused Challenger to mess up. The O-rings had already happened. It's normalization of deviance. The O-rings worked exactly how they had worked in the past. The problem was wind shear. A lot of people don't know that Challenger, when it launched, it was violating 2 launch constraints, not just 1. It violated upper level wind condition constraints for the shuttle stack. And wind shear hitting a damaged O-ring are what did it in. not the O-ring breaking. The O-rings had broken in the past, but there was no wind in the past on other shuttle missions. See what I mean? You can't take engineering and just reduce engineering into like a simple black and white thought process. It's not. It's way more complicated than that. I see people make that mistake a lot. A lot. Like on Twitter, on Reddit, you know, sometimes here in the chat. That's the kind of stuff I try to teach people. That's the biggest thing you got to understand. It's application based. So don't look at like something like Starliner and be like, oh, why did they make it that way? That's so stupid. I should make it this way because I play KSP. No. No. That's Dunning-Kruger. That's the bottom of the Dunning-Kruger curve. Right there. That's Bush League thinking. That's not how it works. Why did they do it? What are they trying to do? Understand? How long would it be for some Yahoo sets the seat off too? Yeah, exactly, right? See what I'm talking about? It's something that's really important to understand. That would imply that they even bothered with learning anything about the shuttle and complications of engineering. Yeah, I see those takes all the time with people on space Twitter. There's a lot of... Actually, one of the most valuable things that I've learned in my travels as a spaceflight enthusiast, I guess, is I know Dick. Yeah. Dude, the more I learn about rocket science, the less I know about rocket science, because it is an ever-expanding well of information. The more you try to climb, the higher the mountain gets. And that's something that I really, really, really can't emphasize enough. You don't know better. I don't know better. No one does, except the people that are making it. You know? That's something that's... Dunning-Kruger is very real with spaceflight. And I see a lot of people, you know, oh, I play Kerbal, so I know that. No, dude, no. 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 No, 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 no. No, 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 no. With that being said, it's fun to theory craft about, you know, oh, how would we reuse an SLS core? Like, that's cool. But it's important to differentiate that theory crafting and, you know, oh, it would be cool if a SLS core propulsively landed itself. Like, that would be really neat. Like, what would we need to do that? Why doesn't... But the second you go into, like, oh, why doesn't NASA do that? That, like, No. There's a lot that goes into this, man. A lot. It's complicated stuff, dude. It's... The depth of complication for aerospace engineering is... It's a freaking chasm. It's the Marianas Trench, dude. If playing Kerbal's learning curve is the Grand Canyon, real life is the Marianas Trench in terms of difficulty. It's really, really complicated. Hey, one time Twitch beat a Pokemon game. We did it! I realized how much I don't know about spaceflight when I learned how asymmetrically the space capsules weight at descent for altitude control. Yeah, Westigator, and you're just scratching the surface. Yep. That's like the addition. If we're going to attribute it to math, that's offset center of mass on your capsule for cross-range capability is the addition of spaceflight, man. Stuff's tough, dude. Yeah, that's right, Driados. It is top of the curve, not bottom of the curve. Sorry, I misspoke. I'm at the bottom of the damn curve. But at least I made it over the damn hump, you know? And you know what the funny thing is, Roro? I see people make the same mistake nowadays. Starship doesn't have an abort system. I think it should have an abort system. No, it shouldn't have an abort system. Because that price point, that $2 million per flight price point is not going to work with a launch escape system. It complicates things and it makes it more expensive, not less. High frequency of flight should be able to make Starship work like an airplane. Elon's trying to do what they were trying to do with the space shuttle, but with different architecture. So, the funny thing is because it's about application, I see people say, oh, SLS has a launch escape system, well, why doesn't Starship? Because those rockets are two different things. You're comparing a cruise ship to an airplane. Like they're not the same thing. Two different tools for the job, man. You know, that's like, oh, you know, I'm comparing a 747 to a cruise ship. Well,
Discovery, go at
you
throttle
can't really compare them other than the fact that they both combust some fossil fuel to get an ends, to get a means to an end, right? That's the only thing that they have in common. Starship and SLS are both rockets, but they do two different things. Hey, Technical, coming up on 4 years, 45-month resub. Thanks, man. I understand why SLS has a launch abort system. It's because of infrequency of flight. It's not designed to fly all the time. That warrants having an escape system. Starship, due to the high frequency of flights, does not warrant an escape system because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to normalize space flight. That's why it doesn't have one. I see people make this mistake all the time. The important thing to first you got to put yourself into the mindset that you know nothing. Second of all, now that you've admitted that you know nothing, you have to try and figure out what other people are doing. And not why did they do it? What are they trying to do? That's huge. That is so important to understand if you want to get into engineering, especially aerospace. Will we have rockets to throw nuclear waste in space far away from Earth? There's no reason we couldn't do that right now, Joe. You know nothing, but you can learn. That's right. It's important to understand, dude. So why don't we do it? Maybe if we normalize flying into space and make it less expensive, it makes more sense. There's a guy that's trying to work on that, and now you know one of the reasons why. No, Elon isn't specifically targeting Starship to be able to move nuclear waste off planet. That's just one of the byproducts. Do you think when Charles Lindbergh flew across the Atlantic that, someday that, there would be hundreds of people traveling across the Atlantic via airplane all the time? Hell no. But that was an application nonetheless, right? Why would you risk launching nuclear waste? Because it's nuclear waste. I say throw it into a volcano. I'm sure there's reasons why we don't do that, Blue, but also at the same time, I can't think of what those are. It erupts and comes back out? Yeah, it's probably not a good idea. Yeah. Not like volcanoes ever impact global weather or anything. Like I said, I don't know a reason off the top of my head why that's a bad idea, but I'm sure there's a very good reason why it's a bad idea, man. Like, sometimes you gotta sit and talk this stuff out. Does that sound right? Throwing nuclear waste into a volcano? It would burn it up. But that doesn't sound right. that doesn't sound right at all. No, I don't. That doesn't sound right. I don't think we should do that. I don't think we should do that. Because glowing lava, green glowing lava already glows. What do you want? What do you want to change the color? That doesn't sound right either. Yeah, Ren, right? Green lava! Alright. Anyway, let's get into space news. What do we got? Okay. We could start space news off like this. It's Vulcan. Yeah. James Webb still is on its way out, Westigator. They're preparing to get it out to Earth Solar L2. And then Tori Bruno, I'm speechless. Nice. Okay. Can you zoom in? No. No. Please, no. Oh, boy. Okay, so there's that. There's where is it? Nuclear propulsion. Here, alright. I got some space news links compiled from early hours. Let's see what we can see here. I find the aerodynamics of that illogical. It's almost at L2. Yep. If Leonard Nimoy was still with us, I'm pretty sure he'd be at the pad blessing the damn thing, right? Where's the cowboy hard hat for that noggin? Yep. The Raptor 2 video, that explicitly has a big copyright on it, MotoKid, so I don't want to show it. Yeah, here's the updates on James Webb. We can start there. That's fine. Boop. It's almost there. I remember when it launched. It was like it was just yesterday. Cool. Man. Yeah. I want another deep field picture. Yeah, you're almost there. It's almost chilled down. Actually, yeah, it's getting close. That's like 2/3 of the way there. It's gonna get stuck at 99%. Don't you dare even suggest that. That's not funny. That's not funny at all. Don't do that again. Do you think Boeing will ever get Starliner off the ground? Yeah, of course, son. Why would you think otherwise is the thing. What are they trying to do, remember? What are they trying to do? They're trying to get the capsule off the ground. Sometimes that's a little more complicated when you roll out a new spacecraft than you think it is. Now, Boeing has a real hard conundrum with Starliner, though. It's a weird problem. Because, so think about it like this. They did the two Starliner service modules, which is where they had a problem with Starliner, is the valves in the service module. 2 of those service modules have flown already. One flew on the abort test, which was a real service module with a dud capsule, I think. And then a second service module flew on the OFT-1 mission in December of 2019. That service module, albeit controlled by junk software, worked fine. The valves worked just fine. We knew because the OMAC thrusters were firing and tumbling the capsule out of control. So that service module worked correctly. 2 service modules on Starliner have flown and they work just fine. Never had any oxidized valves, which is very strange. This one, you roll it to the pad and the service module just all of a sudden breaks. Now, that's a hard problem to solve. Now you got to go and see what you did with the other service modules versus this service module. What were the weather conditions like when you rolled it to the pad? What was it sunny out? Was it dark out? Was it raining? What was the processes, the handling processes to get it for the OFT-1 mission? Was it the same as the OFT-2 mission? Did we do something differently? If we did something differently, how would that affect the valves? It's a hard fault tree. That is a hard thing to figure out, dude. Very difficult. Sorry, I'm burping a lot because I just ate. See what I'm talking about, man? That's a tough problem to solve because you rolled out 1, it worked just fine. You rolled out 2, it worked just fine. You rolled out 3 and it didn't work. But you know it's not the design of the capsule. It's not the design of the service module because the other 2 work just fine and the design hasn't changed. So that tells me that something happened. At some point, service module 3 diverged from the steps that got service module 1 and service module 2 to the pad. So that tells me it's processing, right? This is how I thought about it. That tells me it's a processing problem. Now, thousands of people have touched this damn service module throughout its life from, going from a bunch of metal on the ground to a full completed service module and on the capsule on the pad ready to fly. Now you gotta go through that whole thing with a fine-tooth comb or an afro pick. We ain't found nothing. No, And now you got to figure out where your processing diverged from the other two service modules. And that's tough to do. That's a really hard thing to do. Boeing is doing that, NASA is doing that, and then an independent review team, a third-party contractor that NASA hired, is reviewing the data as well. They have triple redundant review of the data, so there's checks and balances. Now all three of those teams have to come to the same conclusion, and then you can prove what went wrong. So Starliner, yes, it will fly, but it's in a weird spot. It's in a weird spot because something happened with processing, not building the capsule. Something happened with processing. Because we know that because the capsule, that service module that malfunctioned was fine pretty much up until the point where they decided to go and put it on the pad, which means something diverged there. And that now you're going back into specific things. That's really hard for three teams to go and sift through all that junk and come to the same conclusion. They all have to come to the same conclusion for them to certify the capsule. So Starliner's in, it's not development hell per se, but this is the kind of stuff that you have to figure out. Most important thing, and this is so hard for people to understand, the most important thing that you need to figure out is if there's a design flaw with that capsule. I don't think there is because the other two work just fine. But how do you know, if you don't know what caused this problem, how do you know that this won't happen to capsules in the future? You don't want this happening to a capsule up in space. That's death. That's death for the people on board. Yeah, we don't want to do that either. See what I mean? They're in a tough spot. It's a tough spot, but it's solvable. It's just going to take time. That's how NASA goes about, NASA and Boeing go about fixing these problems. You have to kind of be preemptive, and you have to, this is what I mean about, not why did they do that? What are you trying to do? Well, right now, Boeing is trying to figure out, with NASA and the independent review team, they're trying to figure out if this was a one-off occurrence and not a design flaw. Because if it's a one-off occurrence, then you can pinpoint where your processing diverged from SM2 to SM3, right? You can figure out, oh, we tightened this bolt first and then unlock that nut second. And then over here, we unlock the nut first and then tighten the bolt second. You can figure out the divergent processing. Everything with spaceflight, every single process gets logged on a computer. You cannot torque a bolt on that damn spaceship without having to write it down. They do that on purpose, so if something happens, they can go back and trace, where the problem is. Everyone does that. SpaceX does that. NASA does that. Boeing does that. The Russians do that. The Chinese do it. Everyone does that. That's just covering your tracks. So if something goes wrong, you can figure it out. But the most important thing that they're trying to figure out right now, and this is a tough thing to figure out, is the most important thing they're trying to figure out is if it's a design flaw with the service module or if it's a processing problem. And that means you need to go back, you need to figure out the divergent processing between SM2 and SM3, and then you need to do that with another service module to test if you get the same result. It's tough. That's a tough spot to be in. Development hell. But yeah, it'll fly eventually, dude. Yeah, absolutely. It's just going to take a second. That's part, well, not going to take a second. That's the reason why it's taken so long. That's the reason why they rolled Starliner off the pad like last year, and they looked at the faults, the valves getting all rusted, and went, oh frick. How do the Russians log drilling incorrect holes? They blamed us for that, Yarg. But I don't know. I have no idea. The Russians figured out what was wrong with MS-10 pretty damn quick, though. And another Soyuz was flying within a couple of months. That one right there, in the case of MS-10, was a processing problem. Somebody didn't tighten a bolt down correctly on Soyuz's separation mechanism, and when it separated, it instead of shearing the bolt, the thing just kind of, and then the booster, instead of popping off and doing the Korolev cross, just came back and hit the freaking core stage. They figured out pretty damn quick what was wrong, didn't they? Hey, Dylan, 24-month resub. Thanks, buddy. So beta testing components in space is a no-no. Yeah, that's how people get killed, Exo. Yeah, you generally don't want to do that. And if you're going to, make sure there's nobody on board. Yeah. Starliner update. EJ did it. I mean, it's possible. Let's see. So this is from Jeff Faust from yesterday. All right. NASA commercial crew manager Steve Stitch says the Crew 4 flight will be the first commercial crew mission using a booster on its fourth flight, 1067, which also launched Crew 3. New Dragon spacecraft launch scheduled for net April 15th. Update on Boeing's OFT-2, now scheduled for May. Well, if we even have any semblance of a date right here for OFT-2, that tells me that the independent review team, NASA and Boeing, have come to a pretty logical conclusion about what happened. The fact that in January they're talking about launching it in May. So, once again, think about this. Think about this from their point of view. What are you trying to do right now? Well, you're trying to figure out the processing problem with that service module that I told you about, right? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure it out. If they didn't have that, if they didn't have it figured out, right? Do you think they'd be giving a date? Hell no, not a chance. If you didn't know what was wrong with your computer, would you give us, if you work in IT, would you give a specified date as when you should give something back if you don't know what you need to fix? Nope. 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 No. And this is a life-threatening thing, so make sure you do your homework, right? Make sure you get it right. The fact that they're even talking about a date tells me that the investigation is concluding and they're making the necessary steps to change and understand what they did or what happened, whether it was a processing problem or a design flaw or whatnot. I think it was a processing problem. And I said that right from the beginning, and everyone's like, no. But I'm pretty sure it's a processing problem. I'm pretty sure they left the capsule outside in the rain for too long or something stupid like that. It's always something dumb. Seriously. Anybody that works in aerospace, and you run into problems like this that take freaking months to solve, it's always something stupid. Every single freaking time. Every single time. It's like somebody not tightening a bolt. Always happens. So the fact that they're even giving a date tells me that they probably know what happened and they're probably planning about the steps. They're rewriting the manuals for Starliner to make sure that doesn't happen again. So, like I said, the fact that them and NASA and the IRT are even giving a probable launch date tells me that they know what's wrong. We'll probably hear about it later. Or a guy installs a sensor upside down, or a bit of wiring is a little bit loose and rubs against the side of the capsule or something, and it shears off and causes a short. It's always something stupid, every single time. All right, so update on OFT-2, now scheduled for May. Stitch said they have a couple of remediations in place to prevent the valve sticking problem that delayed the mission. I swear to you, I didn't say that before reading this. I swear. I swear, you could go back and watch to see if I read the damn thing. I didn't read all that, but look, Steve Stitch, the guy that runs the commercial crew program for NASA, saying the same thing. Steering cable connected rod blue, it's always something dumb. It always is, every freaking time. It's like trying to figure out why an engine doesn't run on an old car. It's always something stupid like the ballast resistor or like a crap voltage regulator. It's always something small. Every single time. It never fails. Depends on the CRS-25 flight since it has the next batch of IROS solar panels and it's launching in mid-May 2022. It needs the docking port for 2 months. Yep. Uncrewed test flight. First launch attempt August 3rd. So that's OFT-2. First launch attempt is August 3rd, 2021. Second launch attempt working toward a window in May. ULA Atlas 5, Starliner, new crew, and new service module. Sun Cajun, if you're still here, another thing to learn. New crew and service module. The fact that Boeing just took the next service module off the production line and just put it on the capsule for the OFT mission, they literally said, oh, SM2, flight abort, SM1 was the abort, SM2 was the OFT1 test, SM3 was the one that broke. They literally took SM4 and just swapped it. Actually, that's what they're doing right now. The fact that they just swapped one service module for another tells you everything you need to know. Right there. That's pretty good evidence that whatever happened with service module 3 was a fluke in processing. Because if there was a problem with all the service modules, they wouldn't just swap one service module for another, right? That doesn't make any sense. See what I'm talking about? So, is Starliner going to fly? Yes. Is it in a little bit of development hell? Yes. It will fly eventually. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Boeing is anticipating a commercial market in space. That's why they're so committed to it. Heck, the Orbital Flight Test 2, NASA ain't paying for that. They paid for OFT-1. After the capsule fricked up, NASA said, yeah, we're not paying for another test. You do that. You want to prove to us that your capsule works? Pay for it. And Boeing said, all right, fine. They put $400 million towards the OFT-2. They literally bought an Atlas V launch. Straight up. So that should tell you everything you need to know. If they're willing to throw $400 million down on this flight right now, that means they're looking to get a profit. So they're anticipating profits that are at least above $400 million in the future. So that shows commitment like no other. Yeah, it'll fly, dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is important. Like, this is important stuff to understand. This is why I won't talk bad about any particular spacecraft, man. This stuff is hard, man. It's really difficult. But getting into the processing, like how you figure out, like what's the troubleshooting for spacecraft, yeah. Like, dude, once again, and that goes back to what I was saying, we're just scratching the surface right now, man. This is just scratching the surface. It is 1,000 million times more complicated than this. I'm just showing you the thought process. Actually going in and trying to troubleshoot a craft that has a million freaking moving parts is, well, tough. And then trying to figure out how each one of those million freaking parts were installed, that's even more difficult. How do they plan on flying commercially now that Atlas V is about to retire? Starliner is a payload, just like anything else, Capybara. I think Boeing in the future will... they'll pay whomever to launch it. If I had to guess, and keep in mind, it's important so I'm not spreading misinformation. It's important to understand that it's really at the behest of the customer. So if Boeing is anticipating a much bigger market in the future for sending people into low Earth orbit, you know, and using their spacecraft to do it, NASA, commercial, whatever, that tells me that they probably have some plans lined up beyond the service life of Atlas V, right? That makes sense. I think it's very reasonable to say if Boeing's willing to throw $400 million at launching this capsule, $400 million extra dollars at launching this capsule, that they wouldn't plan for it to just launch on the remaining Atlas Vs and then be done with it. That doesn't make any sense. Does that sound like a billion-dollar corporation to you? Just throwing away millions of dollars? No. You can say whatever you want about corporations, but they don't spend money like that. That's not how that works. So I think it would be reasonable to assume, and this is the asterisk part, it would be reasonable to assume that it's probably going to end up launching on Vulcan at some point, but I don't know that for sure, and we shouldn't spread misinformation either. Sus. Dude, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't want that to happen, Forge. Look at this picture, guys. What do you think about that? I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't want that.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yeah, see, this is a picture of Blue Origin's orbital reef station, and they specifically show a bunch of Starliner capsules docking to it. Orbital Reef is a project that's set to... It's one of many commercial space stations that will kind of fill the role of the ISS after it's gone. So in the late 2020s, you should see this thing fly, well beyond the service life of Atlas V. And these are blatantly a bunch of Starliner capsules in here. So I'm pretty dang sure that it's probably going to end up flying on Vulcan, but that's a decision that we haven't heard anything about. It could fly on Neutron. Like, I don't hate that. That's actually kind of cool. Reusable capsule, expendable service module, reusable rocket. I'll take that. That's pretty neat. Sus episode 2. What is this? Ah! No! Kill it! Oh, it's terrible. No, please. Stop. When will the ISS get killed off? 2030 is what they just extended it to. Now, whether it's going to last that long, I don't know. Space is a hostile environment, guys. Those modules up there are all 20 years old at the least. The newest one is Beam. And then the astrobotic airlock. Yeah, that's, and then, I mean, there is Nauka and Prichal, but I don't know, man. A lot of the core systems of the ISS are like 3 decades old at this point. Zarya and Zvezda were manufactured when the Soviet Union still existed. So, I mean, hopefully the ISS is still in one piece by 2030, but we want to use it until 2030. Here, let's see what else we got. So, oxidizer isolation valve anomaly investigation status. Investigation continues to validate most probable cause, oxidizer and moisture interactions. NASA has been working alongside Boeing during the investigation, leveraging materials and propellants expertise and testing at the White Sands Test Facility and Marshall Space Flight Center. Analysis of samples of corrosive material found in the valves, micro-CAT scans, and borescopes, and exposure of the valves to various conditions. Yeah, see? They're trying to replicate what happened with Service Module 3 independently. NASA and Boeing will continue analysis and testing of the initial service module and components leading up to the launch. Boom. There it is. Right there. See? There it is. NASA and Boeing will continue analysis and testing of initial service module and components leading up to the launch. Processing. All day. But it's not what you know. It's what you can prove. So you got to prove it. They should return the ISS with its entirety back to Earth with Starship. You will get absolutely no objections from me, Predominant. Yeah, we should absolutely do that. Hostile environment, that's why we have the Space Force. Yep, see? SM-4, planned for the crew flight test, will fly on OFT-2. SM-5, planned for Starliner 1, will fly on the crew flight test. They basically shifted all the service modules to the left and junked SM-3 for testing purposes. Wonder what process changes will be needed to prevent this from happening again. It depends on what... Wait, hang on. What's that last bit say? Testing underway to ensure the health of the new service module, hardware, and systems. Preventative remediation efforts will be applied to new service module. Preventative remediation efforts. You know what, Boring? I just got through saying it's not what you know, it's what you can prove, right? You got it. They have to review it, and they have to review the data, and they have to all 3 review teams have to concurrently come to the same analysis, the same outcome, right? That's how you prove it for sure. I seriously think this Starliner capsule, they left it out in the rain. I'm dead serious about that. I really think that that's what happened. Starliner launches in Florida off of Slick 41, Florida. Not a place known for its uniform weather patterns. The only thing that's uniform is that it's hot and humid, and that's about it. I honestly think that they had the capsule out on the pad, pretty much ready to go, and it literally, there was a flash thunderstorm that hit it with like gale force winds and rain. Which does happen in Florida in the summer. Remember, they went to launch OFT-2 in August. Anybody that lives in Florida knows at 4:30 in the afternoon, without fail, monsoon conditions happen for about 30 minutes and then the sun comes out again. Now, the severity of the monsoon depends on how humid it is. If it's really freaking humid, that it'll turn in, the monsoon will turn into conditions so bad you can't drive a car. With the windshield wipers on full blast, there's so much water coming out of the sky that you could turn the windshield wipers to the maximum and you still can't see 5 feet in front of you. So, I honestly think that that's what happened. Capsules are designed for a pretty hostile environment in space. They're not designed for the jungle or for a swamp. I'm pretty damn sure that that's what happened. Just a freaking accident. So, they got to rewrite the manual to say, make sure we check the weather next time. Bear in mind, they knew there was something funky with the service module before rollout when the capsule was in the VIF. So I'll say it here, something happened when it was in storage. Forge, that's my other thing. I agree with that too. That's another plausible solution. So Starliner got delayed a little bit at the beginning of 2021. The problem is it got delayed so much that the docking port at the ISS where it was supposed to go was taken up by a cargo resupply mission. The astronauts up there have to eat. Spoiler alert. I know. Crazy concept, eating, right? So, Starliner missed its window of opportunity for the test flight, and it ended up sitting in the hangar untouched for months. That the SM-3 and that Starliner capsule. It ended up sitting there for months. Anybody here an airplane mechanic? Or anybody here like wrenching on cars? What happens when you leave airplanes and cars? Even if they're in a garage? What happens if you leave them in a garage and don't touch them for months? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Dust, rust, maloperation. They don't let mechanical components, planes, cars, spacecraft, they don't like sitting. Sitting is bad for them. So, for all we know, somebody turned the AC down inside of the hangar, right? And it got there was too much moisture inside of the hangar where they were storing it, and it rusted from the inside out. Doesn't take long for corrosion to happen. Ask anybody that likes cars. If you don't protect the surface, it will rust within days. That thing was there for a couple of months. So, Forge, I think that one is equally as plausible. So, maybe don't leave the capsule sitting there untouched for like a couple months. That's probably not a good idea. They turn into a piece of junk, that's right. Actually, it was the engineers from Boeing that leave the brake on over the weekend and then try to take it off, yeah, right? It was the engineers from Boeing that couldn't do a software validation in April because Houston was hit by that cold storm last year. Yeah, Didn't also miss its window because of the new Russian module. Yeah, that's right. It was Nauka. It wasn't a resupply. Nauka bunched its window on the front side of the schedule. On the back side of the schedule, the resupply mission did it. But yeah, Does that not raise a potential concern about being docked to the station for months, or does the vacuum of space solve that? I mean, Yarg, if you build a boat, right, and the boat is sitting on land and things happen because it's sitting on land and not in the water, like the engines overheat or something, right? You're not going to be like, oh, this is a bad design. No, it's the boat's supposed to be in the water, right? A lot of marine motors use water to cool the engine, right? But, now, don't get me wrong. Starliner doesn't do any of that. It's the vacuum of space, dude. Yeah, you nailed it. I just explained it for everybody else, dude. But yeah, you're nail on the head. Spacecraft designed to be up. It's designed to be up there. It's not designed to be down here. Every second that thing is down here is a second that it's doing not what it was designed to do, right? That's how I look at it. With that being said, you can still stuff can still rust in space. If a water pipe leaks, it'll still oxidize stuff in space. That tweet isn't loading, Forge. So they added 2 more lines to the checklist. Check AC in the hangar and check weather before. Yeah, check the weather before the test. Probably, Alex. They said they're redoing their processes, and that last one is very telling. Preventative remediation efforts will be applied to the new service module. If they're figuring out if they know what they need to prevent this service module from doing what the last service module did, that tells me that they have a pretty damn good idea what went wrong, right? It's just some pretty straightforward logical reasoning. They wouldn't put that in there if they didn't know what went wrong. Well, we got to find ways to prevent the capsule from rusting from the inside out. So what rusted it from the inside out? Oh, I don't know. I just know we need to prevent it. Does that sound like aerospace engineering to you? No, that sounds like a comedy sketch, right? Aerospace engineering does not work like that. I'll tell you that engineers are not good at dealing with customers, okay? They're not good at dealing with comedy, okay? As I said, hit it with some WD-40. You know, Stelfara, that was legitimately the reason why WD-40 was invented. WD-40 was invented to prevent corrosion on Atlas missiles. So the problem that we're talking about here, WD-40 was invented to solve that problem. So you're not wrong. Like, it needs WD-50. Well, WD-50 got never made because WD-40 was the name that worked. You don't invent 40 and then invent 50 and say, nah, 40 is good. No. WD-50 does not exist. Water displacement. Yep. It was designed to prevent moisture from accumulating on the stainless steel that Atlas missiles were made out of. True story. WD-69, please. Wrecked. Preparations A through G have all failed, Gnome, so we will call this preventative capsule measure Preparation H. Yeah, Chad. On the whole, I think Preparation H feels good. The capsule was invented by the late Dr. Alan Parsons, so therefore we shall call the Starliner project the Alan Parsons Project. Oh yeah, I agree. Preparation H does feel good on the whole. Alright, zip it, chat. Zip it. Zip. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Exhibit A. Look, I'm Zippy Longstocking. Bidwai hiato, misayoto. Subtitle, Zip It. Yeah, there you go, Zeppelin. Yeah, the zinc anodes. Shh. 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 I'm glad I'm not the only one that recites entire scenes from random movies at random times. It wasn't random, it was in context, all right? Somebody in chat said it, so I was playing off the joke because it applies to the troubleshooting. Somehow. Shut up, Farhad. It wasn't random, I swear. I'd like to formally apologize for my last message. Joint Independent Review Team. Weirdly enough, it loads on his Twitter, so here you go. All right, let's see. No, you just recite movies at random. It's not random, Yarg. Not all the time. Okay. The joint IRT and OFT post-flight reviews identified areas of improvement to reduce the risk for future flights. Strengthening Boeing software and mission data load processes. Oh, gee, really? You got to make sure the software doesn't make the spacecraft careen out of control. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Strengthening Boeing systems engineering and systems integration. Systems engineering and systems integration is a space flight way of saying how we put the capsule together, and then how we put parts of the capsule together, and then how we put the whole capsule together. Literally, the process for putting the capsule together and then putting it together on the rocket. Integration refers to taking major subcomponents like the capsule and the service module and putting them together, and then taking that and putting that on a rocket. That's what integration is. You have to go through the engineering first and the integration second. Ooh, more space news. Okay. NASA Commercial Crew Program and stakeholders review the Starliner team's IRT action closures. NASA Commercial Crew implemented SEI and software insight oversight actions to complement the actions planned by the Boeing and Starliner team. NASA Commercial Crew Program software team was augmented to significantly increase insight and strengthen oversight. These combined actions should significantly reduce the risk to OFT2, CFT, and other CCP flights. That's the big one to understand right there. You got to make sure that whatever happened to this does not happen to another one. That's the big one. All Boeing Independent Review Team flight software and communications actions were closed. NASA Commercial Crew Program and stakeholders reviewed all Boeing IRT actions for concurrence with closure. Everybody agrees that these actions are the right actions to fix the problem. So, yeah. I think it's safe to say that they have a pretty damn good idea, Forge, of what happened with that service module. All right, we got another tweet from NASA about James Webb. Let's see. Why? Stop this. All right, we'll do it this way.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
this one. Hey, Tototti, 63-month resub. Okay, NASA Webb arrives at its final destination on Monday, nearly 1 million miles from Earth. Welcome to Earth. Join us at 3 p.m. for a NASA Science Lab broadcast, followed by a media briefing. Pencil us in. Twitter is dying. Some tweets don't load. Okie dokie. Dokie dokie. Literature Club. On human landing system. We looked at the HLS PowerPoint yesterday. Let's see. I'll review it and make sure that everything is okay. Oh gosh, it's almost been a month since Christmas. Yeah, serious. That was my New Year's resolution, slowing things down. Seriously. I have concluded that time goes way too fast in this day and age, and I've decided to slow it down. At least my perception of it. No, I don't have a DeLorean. I wish. So, what I do is, like, when I wake up, I make sure to, like, look at my phone and check the date. See what day it is. The date. Go and check the weather. I don't watch the news. That's not a good idea. Yeah, that's the way to do the opposite of what I'm trying to do. Just take it slow. Just go get a cup of coffee, just figure out what I need to do during the day, instead of just waking up and sitting down here and being like, I'm ready! I'm good! You know? Does it work? Yeah. It's been the second part of... It's been the third week of January for a very long time. Yeah, no, it works. Yeah, it works great. You know what's weird? Doing small, stupid things like that, I don't really have much insomnia problems anymore, which is very strange. That's the one I can't figure out. I don't know what I did, but I used to sit in bed, and I used to just sit in bed staring at the ceiling for a long period of time. But I guess that, like, me giving myself, like, okay, I gotta wake up in the morning because I need to check the date. I need to check the date, I need to see if I have errands I need to do, and I need to think about what I'm gonna do on the stream today. I need to make sure that everything is good with Brimo. I give myself things to wake up in the morning to do. You know? Because that's, you know, it's my New Year's resolution. I can't be, you know, my stupid brain. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I understand how that thing works, right? Like, oh, well, that's a good enough reason to wake up in the morning, so I have no problem falling asleep. Strangest thing. I haven't been late for a stream in a long time. In fact, I was early today.
Discovery.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Right on time, every time. Yeah. Almost 7 hours. I'm late as frick. I think it was the KSP deadlines and the pressure. Well, I can handle the deadlines, but I have to have my life organized before I can figure out my life in the freaking game, dude. That's the real big thing. That's part of what happened with KSP and taking a break was trying to just stack the blocks up again so I can get back to doing what I'm doing. Like, this is gonna sound stupid. Like, I say stack the blocks up because I think that, like, mental toughness is building a wall. You got to build up that wall, right? No, not that. You got to build up all the bricks, and you got to place the bricks in a certain way to build up the wall so you can withstand when life throws you a curveball. And then when it does, it knocks down some of that wall, and it takes a second to put it all back up. That's just, I don't know, man. My brain works with analogies, dude. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like that's like end all be all advice. I'm just telling you how my brain works. So, like, during the end of the holidays, the wall had too many holes in it, so I had to stop, and I had to kind of take it back and start filling in all the holes again and stacking it back up because all the blocks fell over. Okay, Hellfish and Forge, I have those two other links. And, of course, they don't load. Make mental health great again. Oh, God. I don't know what... I mean, you're right. But no, but also you're right. But no. Hey, your brain works. Did you get a firmware update? And yet you're here every day.
Discovery.
Try this
go
link,
and
more
throttle.
space news. NASA's Gamma Ray Observatory is in safe mode after a possible wheel failure. Ooh. Okay, yeah, they'll figure that one out, Brandon, I'm pretty sure. Short bus driver, 5-month resub. Thanks, man. Filling the hole, hence preparation H. Okay, I get it now. Yeah, dude, I told you it wasn't random. The Axiom Sphere Studio thing. I have that teed up, yeah. Yeah, of course, Clayton. Yep.
Discovery.
And
go
Twitter's
and
dead.
throttle up.
Hey, Bradley, thanks for the raid. X-Tide with the 22-month resub. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta curveballs. I hate curveballs. Yeah, Hypersonic, I know. Man, your wall got bashed in with a bulldozer, dude. But if you take a day adding another brick, it builds the wall. It builds it freaking higher. So if a big curveball comes and a bulldozer decides to drive through your wall, right? Curve wall, right? The wall will withstand it. You know what I mean? Like, stuff takes time, dude. 10 feet higher. Tell us who you are without telling us who you are. Curved wall. Yeah, see? Bradley, hey, thanks for the raid, man. What were you working on? Strebin!
Discovery. Go and throttle up.
10-month resub. And once again, this mental health stuff is how my mind works. You guys got to keep in mind, this is not advice. I'm just telling you how this thing works, or at least that's how I'd like to think that it works. That still remains to be seen. I'm not a psychology expert. Any exercise? I've been just eating better floating. I eat rice, carrots, and broccoli with like chicken steak. Seriously, that's all I eat. I mean, I did make mac and cheese last night because I wanted some mac and
Discovery.
cheese.
Go and throttle up.
But yeah, during the day, rice. So like white rice, broccoli, carrots, cauliflower, grilled chicken, and
Discovery.
steak.
Go and throttle up.
Strevin, thank you for those 10 subs, man. I really appreciate it. You were playing Splinterlands, Bradley. A little outside my sci-fi wheelhouse, but it's a crypto-based card game. Oh, all right. I'm curious. Did you ever do any tests for neurodivergence? Neurodivergence?
Discovery. Go and throttle up.
What does that mean? You saying my brain don't do good work, do good what like more?
Discovery. Go and throttle up.
Only person on the internet to not diagnose it. Yeah, everybody's a psychology expert because they listen to their favorite online shrink talk about one single facet of psychology. It's the, dude, Dunning-Kruger again. Psychology is complicated, man. It's very complicated. Like, just because you can figure out some patterns with people's behavior doesn't make you a psychological expert. Like, that's why I always say, this is what works for me, probably won't work for you because I'm weird, right? ADHD or something similar. It's not a bad brain, it's just different. I don't know, Alex. Maybe. Maybe, dude. People have said that I have eidetic memory, which means I have pretty good recall. Like, I remember things. But I remember things because I read something the first time and okay, you ever been reading a book and find yourself like 6 pages beyond where you were? And then you flip back in the book, you're like, wait, what did I just read? That happens to me all the freaking time, dude. I have to read things like 4 or 5 times for it to stick in my stupid head. So, yeah, I have to read it a bunch of times, and that repetition is why I have good recall, because I beat it into my head until it sticks. Like, dude, once again, this isn't an end-all, be-all freaking solution. You know, this is what works for me. So I have no idea. Yeah, right, serious? Yeah, I know. I don't know, man, maybe. The recall is awesome, though. That's a really good skill that I've honed. How does that explain the movie quotes? See, Yarg, there was a time when YouTube wasn't a thing, okay? And I would be playing Counter-Strike. So go back like 15 years ago. I'd be playing Counter-Strike, or I'd be playing Halo, or I'd be playing whatever. And keep in mind, it's like, this is like 2006, 2007, 2008, right? Or I would be working on schoolwork for college or whatever, and you didn't have like YouTube videos to watch. You didn't have Spotify podcasts to listen to. I would just put movies on that I liked in the background. So, bro, I've probably watched Tropic Thunder, I don't know, close to 1,000 times. At least. Like, Blues Brothers, Spaceballs, Ace Ventura. I just put those movies on in the background with in a DVD player. And I would just have them on. So, maybe that explains that. Repetition, dude. I don't know. Did you remember to arch your shoulders? Oh, he's trying. Definitely split between creative and technical. I don't know, man. I don't want to open that can of worms. I got my first degree in electronics and the second in German language and literature. Divergent enough. Oh, there you go, man. That's a pretty good combo, Brad. That's pretty sweet, dude. Sorry, I'm scrolling through the chat. Eidetic memory is not good memory. Eidetic memory is perfect memory. Yeah, I guess, Interalien, yeah. Do you remember the first time I found your stream? I don't. No, Force. I know that you came about in like 2015 or something when I was building the shuttle, but that's about as good as I remember that. It started to get fuzzy when the older viewers first came around on the stream, I'll admit. It's a lot, because I try to remember all that stuff. I googled my symptoms, and now I think I'm a cactus, bro. Vasi, I don't know about over there. That stuff runs rampant over here. Everybody thinks, you know, oh, I went on WebMD. This is the symptoms that I had. I thought you were an Amazon construct, probably. I'm no psychiatrist either, just a weird kid. Everybody's brain is slightly different. It has a slightly different chemical balance than everybody else's brain. It's an important thing to understand. Like you said, different. No, I'm all RAM, no hard drive. You know, that's good appetizing. I like that. Hey Jay, if we're talking about that, do you remember how Porcupine? Do you remember how I joined the stream and introduced my mother to you? Well, I have a son now. Oh, Porcupine, I don't recall that event off the top of my head, but I know that, dude. I think I saw you for the first time in like 2014, which is probably when that event you're talking about first happened. You started watching the stream a long time ago. I googled my symptoms and I should be dead. Twitter is rolling out the NFT profile picture feature and the server died. NFT profile picture. I googled my symptoms and it says I have internet connectivity problem. That's the funniest one I've heard. You and my father are the only two people I know who do the when scrolling through text. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Dude, I don't know what that is. Yeah. Why? NFT profile pictures, just right click and save. Oh my god. Hey fellas, let me tell you about NFTs. I'm Victor Chaus. I can make you guys rich. Can we make an NFT about of Hank Hill saying, "Do I look like I know what a JPEG is?" and then make the NFT a JPEG? Can it work that way? Does anybody know? Is that possible? Yup. Oh god. Oh god. I should not have asked. That's the best. Make it so. They put it behind a paywall as well, so Twitter is just milking NFT idiots for money. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. I don't know enough about NFTs to really be able to comment. I'm not kidding. NFT is non-functioning toilet. Anything digital. Okay. Okay. I've been getting this notification for the past 24 hours, and I uninstalled the app because of it. Oh, jeez. NFT is nice fairings, Tesla man. What does NFT stand for? No wrong answers. Or like, no freaking thanks. The world with NFTs. This is fine. Do I look like I know what an NFT is? I just want to right-click the picture and save to hard drive. No freaking value. Butters, you getting pee everywhere. Non-functioning tests. Never mind. Not fraudulent. Trust me. Hot dog NFTs. EJ playing Hearts of Iron. No freaking tanks. That's good. That's good. I like that. Copyright infringement. That's not what NFT stands for. Nominal fraud transaction. I'm taking it you guys don't like them. Non-functioning thrusters. Not friendly time. Wait, have I missed EJ playing Hearts of Iron? Yeah, I played almost daily Porcupine. I'm actually getting kind of good at it, which is scary. Tanks are 30% cheaper in Hearts of Iron 4 beta now, by the way. Really? No, Nominal Falcon Thrust. Yes, precisely. New freaking technology. Nutty flying turd. Not for two. It's basically 50% RNG pictures of monkeys and 50% money laundering. Now is fart time. Why is this so funny? I don't know, man. I don't know. Do you own the Lego Discovery? Yeah, sure, Toto. Yeah. Do you? Oh, yeah. Mine's in the other room. Mine's on a plinth in my dining room. Seriously. That and Hubble. Yeah. I see it every day before I walk into my office. Yeah, I know, Boxy, right? Yeah. Why does it make me laugh? I don't know. I own 4,567 pictures of penguins. I'm rich. Non-stop Finnish torture. That's a funny way to spell my summer car. Do you dust it? No. Do you have the Lego ISS? I don't. I started with the Saturn V, but Discovery will follow. Dude, it's an awesome set. Really. Toto, I'll be honest. 12-year-old EJ would love that thing. I would be... If I was 12, and yes, I'm 33, and no, there's no excuse. That doesn't mean that 33-year-olds can't play with Legos, okay? I have trucks. The trucks are my toys now. But if I was 12 and I couldn't afford a car, I would be playing with that shuttle almost every day. But if you're my age and you play with Legos or older, it doesn't matter. Legos are awesome. All right? Legos are awesome. All right? It's great that we live in a day and age where people don't judge you for playing with Legos. Dude, I could play with Legos right now. Sure, absolutely. But the thing is, cars are like playing with metal Legos, and they're bigger and you can drive them around. So like, you remember like making toy Lego cars and you're like, oh man, how cool would this be if I could drive this around? Yeah, that's cars. That's why people mess with cars. Yeah. It is cheaper with Legos. Not by much. I'm going to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there. Nice, fluffy toes. All right, Alex. Nice, Yarg. There you go. Non-functioning toilet. So Dragon is an NFT? Mother of God. This is me in 5 years. What the hell is going on here? What? And probably not Limprod, yeah.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
What is happening? What is happening in this? Neat Ford truck. Nice. Nice flat tires. Yeah, also good. Public, 43 months. Did you try arching your resub, Public? This chat is the funniest thing that I've heard for months. Try. That guy is going ham in Beat Saber? What is happening here? Okay. Is it strange if I look at this and I go, no doubt these people are having fun, and I shouldn't judge, because if you put me in that, I'd probably have the same amount of fun. But also, like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I wouldn't have fun with this. But also, Ford NFT is non-functioning truck. You know what NFT really stands for, Yarg? Go frick yourself, Yargnet. Oh, it doesn't. Point still stands.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Dude on the left got to be playing Beat Saber. Duality at its finest. Yeah, I can understand me judging. Like, that looks ridiculous. You look ridiculous. But also, I know that I too would enjoy this and look ridiculous as well. Now, if there's any psychologists out there that want to say what that's about, please let me know, because there's a lot of things that are like that. If there's any, stands for no freaking thank you. NASA farts tomorrow. Yes. Speaking of Legos, the world's largest tire manufacturer is Lego. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. This was posted by the man himself. What is that? Oh, Elon posted that. Why is it automatically funnier when he posts it? All right, let's see. The other Twitter links that you guys posted before are up and running now, so let's see what we got. Nah, frick that. Yep. What a nice deal for a low-mile C7. Yeah, I give you $500. $500. All right, let's see. What's this first news? Merci Thales Alinea por la invitation. Ici à Turin, des femmes et des hommes préparant le futur de l'exploration spatiale. All right, anyway. Thank you, Thales Alinea Space, for the invite. Here in Turin, women and men are preparing for the future of space exploration. Here, again, part of the Habitation and Logistics Outpost module, which will go around the moon. Have we covered Super Heavy Landing Simulation from Elon? I was saving that for last, dude. I was saving that for last because it is... chef's kiss. Chef's kiss, my dude. Yeah, there's a picture of the Gateway Outpost. We got flight hardware. Very primitive flight hardware, but flight hardware nonetheless. Hugo Lesois is a big space streamer. He and his brother have an opportunity to interview Macron on the matter. Great people. Oh. Macron. Cool. That's actually really neat, dude. Here, let me see. Word. Oh, guy likes the shuttle, so I mean, we're friends now. YouTube partner and Twitch partner. Affiliate Astro Gaming France. And did you guys know, in France, when a man is caught poaching ostriches, we shave his head and we make him run through the fields. Once you have seen this, it changes a man. What? Shut up! You'll be spending plenty of time with the ever-popular Mark. Oh, I can be very nice. Sorry. Back to space news. What's funny is if you paint it red or yellow, it's got a twin at McDonald's. Nice. Axiom and Tom Cruise Space Station Studio News. I have that teed up here, Lunprod, actually. We got through that. All right, so let's see. Oh, word? Hell yeah. I speak French and that was funny as hell. No problem, man. Sorry. I'm sorry, dude. Yeah. I'm not trying to be a jerk. If you don't make fun of me for being fat and eating hamburgers all day, I'll be very disappointed. What is this, Predominant? Jeez. Was that an invitation? Nah, you can't, Tessa, because I'll just make fun of you for doing the same thing. Hamburger au fromage. Sad thing that SLS will be signed off before Starliner. Well, SLS is from 2011. Starliner's from 2014. The fact that they're even competing should tell you everything you need to know. You were doing a French accent. Oh, yeah. Super tupers. Very nice. All right, so this is about mixed crews on Soyuz MS-22. NASA astronaut will fly on MS-22. Frank Rubio. And that's Anna Kikna right there. Yeah. I fought in your general direction. I blow my nose at you, so-called Arthur King. In the event that an agreement is signed between Roscosmos and NASA on cross flights to the ISS, Anna Kikna is planned to be introduced in the main crew of the Crew Dragon spacecraft. Instead, the main crew of the spacecraft Soyuz MS-22 is NASA astronaut Frank Rubio. Right on. Cool. Yeah, Anna's gonna fly on Crew Dragon if they decide to mix the crews again, which they should. That's a really good idea. Now go away, or I shall taunt you a second time. All right. So what else do we got here? Next bit of news. UK company Space Entertainment Enterprise, which is producing the unnamed Tom Cruise movie, signed a contract with Axiom Space to build a production studio in orbit called C1. It's an inflatable studio module that is set to launch in December of 2024. Predominant? I never saw Super Troopers 2. Axiom CEO Michael Suffredini says SEE-1 will expand the station's utility as a platform for a global user base and highlight the range of opportunities the new space economy offers. Is that light bulb? That light bulb is the movie studio. Huh. Word. It's a really bright idea. Yeah, you're right. It is. Looks like a PlayStation Move controller. It does, doesn't it? Dude, can you imagine how cool this would actually be? You have a movie studio in there with cameras, and then the inside of that is green screen. That would be pretty cool, actually. Bop it. Twist it. Pull it. Yeah, that would actually be really cool. Space Entertainment Enterprise. The company is currently in discussions with investors and commercial partners on the project with a further fundraising round planned shortly. All right, cool. Let's get that Hollywood budget investing in spaceflight, please. That would be really neat. And does the outside turn green to signify it's ready for player 2? Yes. Probably no high-speed chases, though. You could. Green screen in space. How to mess with conspiracy nuts. Pro move. That's actually really funny. Yo, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What if somebody filmed a movie about going to the moon in that movie studio on a space station in low Earth orbit? Then what? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I have questions. Dude, their freaking brain would explode, man. It'd be like Scanners, man, when the dude's head pops. Oh my god. Yeah. Jax, dude, I've actually said that to people before. You know, somebody came into the chat one time, and they were probably a troll, all right? But I was trying to be funny, but it actually makes sense. Somebody came, it's like, how can you prove that NASA went to the moon? They probably filmed a movie about it. Well, I'm like, yeah, they did film a movie about it on the moon. That's why we have footage of them walking on the moon. And honestly, that was probably the most realistic way to do that. It was probably cheaper, too. Yeah, that was probably cheaper to just go and film it on location, like legit, straight up. I'll bet you that was probably easier than trying to fake it. This could backfire hard if they overhype it and the movie sucks. I've seen it before in games. So, Caveman, don't make a cyberpunk movie in space. All right, cool. Good to know. Kodak has said it was cheaper to film it than fake it at the time. It's straight up. Like, yeah, that's right. That makes sense in my head, Demon. That makes perfect sense. It's literally easier to go and just film up there than try to fake all the weird physics that happen on the moon. Bro, that makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense to me. Did green screens even exist? How are you going to chroma something in 1969? How does that even work? Don't forget to not film a Duke Nukem movie. No, you don't. Yeah, you're right. Don't film a Duke Nukem movie, but say you're going to and then never do it. Right? There was no third Duke Nukem username. I don't know what you're talking about. Mary Poppins used green screens. Oh, that's rotoscoping. That's different. Rotoscoping is, well, not so much, but yeah. Rotoscoping is not chroma screen. Rotoscoping is something that you superimpose. You're layering film. It's a little bit different. Yeah, Blue, there was no second or third Matrix. Alright, you know what, man? Matrix 2 was weird. The whole dancing scene in Zion is very bizarre. You could just cut that out, and then it would probably be a really good movie. The police chase, though, on the highway with that Trans Am was dope. That was really awesome with the twins. Yeah, you can't say that wasn't cool. That was awesome. The highway scene was baller. I love that. Yeah? Yeah, the Glock 18. The Glock 18 with the katana. He hits the gas tank on the Escalade and it blows up. Hell yeah. And the ump, yeah, the wait, was it chambered in 40? Why was it chambered in 40? Gross. Ew. 40 S&W. That's disgusting. I always skip the first 30 minutes of The Matrix 2. I only watch The Matrix 2 for the highway scene. The highway scene is dope. Yeah, everything else, whatever. Interesting, Demon. Are we not going to mention Trinity going reverse car lane at full throttle? Yeah. Yeah, it's alright. Do you have any idea about the pebble bed reactor? I've heard of it. I've heard of people talk about it in chat, but no. And Monica Bellucci. Yeah, that's a good reason. Yeah, Ren. That's right. That's a very good reason. Yeah. She wasn't kissing your face, my love. Yeah. Good call. Yeah. Good call. The highway scene, though. 9mm, 40 S&W, FNPs in 40, 45 ACP. The UMP needs to be chambered in 45. 10mm, 45 ACP. Now we're talking. It's a nuclear rocket engine, but with solid fuel. Cool. Most nuclear is... Oh, okay. Yeah, a little bit different than NTR. Got it. Man, why am I not critical of movies? It sounds so weird with people having such strong opinion on things that I don't even think about. I don't know, Draco. How does pause traction work on a 72 Plymouth? It just does. Trick question. Pause traction never came on a 72 Plymouth. Because pause traction is a GM idea. It just does, man. I love to curse in French, especially to curse. Merde. It's like wiping your rear end with silk. I love it. Nerd. Yeah. All right. So, now that Twitter is working, I guess, we need right up in here. Right up in here. Here. Think you gonna get away with it? Not up in here. So Elon just cold turkey tweeted this last night. Maybe something like this. It is a SpaceX simulation, or one of SpaceX's sims with body acceleration and roll rates and altimeter of super heavy landing. Oh my god. Oh my god. Kowalski. Analysis. Nice username, good to know. You ever stared at... Oh, wait, hold on. You ever stared at it? Marveled at its beauty? Its genius? Did you know, Mr. Chat, that the Falcon 9 was quite literally designed to be the perfect launch vehicle? Without pain or suffering, partial reuse, landing first stage. It was a disaster. No one would accept the code. Entire crops were lost. Entire payloads were lost. Which brings you to the rocket you see before you. Are you Daredevil now? Daredevil? Agent Smith, man, we were just talking about the Matrix. Yeah, Crash, we were cleaning out the living room and I found them, dude. Mr. Anderson, I'm going to enjoy watching you die, Mr. Anderson. So, okay, so check this out. This simulation, I mean, keep in mind, this isn't the end-all, be-all, but this looks to be at least decent fidelity simulation here. The geometry pretty much isn't. But check this out. So we have rates, and we have accelerations, okay? So, first of all, okay, if you do 3D modeling, this is kind of strange, but the x-axis is the longitudinal axis of the vehicle, meaning x is up. Okay, x is up, y is port starboard, all right? Z is zenith and nadir, so that's this way. Z is this way, y is this way, x is that way. Usually you orient Z up or Y up, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So, check this out. In accelerations here, as the Super Heavy is going down, you have a tremendous difference in acceleration, and then the engine shut off, and then you have a very gradual, well, this is deceleration, I suppose, and then you shut the rocket engines off and you shock load the vehicle like what I was talking about. Basically, this right here, this up and down, the EKG right there, is when it hooks. But it's very interesting. There's some very interesting stuff going on here. It does matter. Z is depth. Fight me. I agree. So, this one basically shows that it's going relatively straight down. But we do have some movement on the Z-axis here. It's very, very apparent in the rates over here. Okay? The body rates are basically rotation. That's the rotation for the most part, I think, if I'm looking at this right, because it's in degrees a second, so it's rotational control on the vehicle. So check this out. You have some pretty hard Z-axis movement right here. The reason why I'm pointing this out is because I've theorized that Super Heavy is not going to land straight down. And the little movement on the Z-axis from the acceleration and the huge movement on the Z-axis from the rates right here, see how it's moving? Tells me that this booster is going to be going sideways when it comes in. It's going to be going sideways, and Super Heavy is going to use its momentum to keep it going in one direction so it's more precise in its landing. Think about it kind of like this. An airplane, right, has a lot of horizontal momentum when it goes to land, right? And it can pinpoint land on a runway, right? A helicopter, right, is coming in like this, and you can kind of be pinpoint, but if you have some wind going left to right, it's going to be a little bit harder to do a precision landing on it. But a plane can touch its tires down within a couple feet, like less than a couple feet of where it's supposed to touch down on the runway if you know what you're doing, right? It's much more pinpoint because you have a horizontal component. Your momentum is keeping you stabilized. So this kind of proves exactly what I was thinking, at least this simulation. Now, once again, I don't know the fidelity of this damn simulation. I don't know if this is what they want to do in the final thing, but this shows that you do have some Z-axis movement here for the rates and acceleration, which means that Super Heavy isn't going to come straight down. It's going to come in a little bit sideways like this. And it's going to use the momentum of it going in two axes of movement. So it's going to be going down into the left, back into the left, back into the left. It's going to be doing that to be more precise in its landing. It's not just going to come straight down like Falcon 9 and, have to worry about, perturbing forces, like wind, move it in different directions. Super Heavy will basically steer in and come in and like kind of sideways almost. And that's the key. Right there, that's the key to doing this precise landing. That's the key to catching it. I'm pretty damn sure. Also, potentially, if off nominal landing, explosion moves in that direction away from the tower. Bingo. It would be landing near the fuel farm. It makes me a bit worried. I'm not. Momentum, because if it hits the fuel farm, that means physics has stopped working. Good evening, EJ. How are you doing? What are we looking at? Check this out. Elon tweeted a Super Heavy landing simulation with the rates. And Gujar, it pretty much proved that I was trying to tell everybody. Look, if you're skeptical of SpaceX trying to catch a freaking booster coming back from orbit, I don't blame you. But this might be able to explain it a little bit better. If you look, you have Z-axis rates here. You have a Z-axis roll rate, and then you have a Z-axis acceleration right there. See those little blues right there? That tells me, because you're accelerating, that the booster is coming in with a slight horizontal component to it. It's not landing straight down. That horizontal component allows the booster's momentum of moving in that direction to stabilize it. it'll stabilize it, and you can get super freaking precise if you land sideways. That's actually really, really freaking smart. That's really cool. Yeah, well, it's going to catch Starship too, Hired, but Starship does the same thing, guys. Seriously. Starship comes in with a horizontal component. Look. The whole thing, when it does the flip, is moving in one direction. And then when it lands, it just corrects at the last second and lands down. It's actually really smart. They're using the momentum of these big freaking rockets to stabilize it in one direction so they can be more precise in the landing. That's really, really, really cutting edge stuff. It'll really be cutting edge if it pierces the booster and blows up, which might happen. But also, that's a really good way to figure out that problem. If they just launched it, the fuel farm is probably mostly empty. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. It looks like there's a hover period in the landing process. Yeah, of course. It hovers for a second, but it hovers basically like a helicopter would hover over the landing pad for a second. Once you're there, it's really just a question of putting it down, right? So it hovers in place for a moment. It uses the momentum to get where it needs to go, hovers for a second, and then the arms move in, and then it just lets it down on the arms. Now, the horizontal component is the key. That's how they're going to be precise. And you got to remember, there's tracks on the chopsticks. There's tracks on either side. So you have a margin of error in this axis, in that same z-axis. So that right there can compensate for windage. If it's more windy, you're going to need more of a z-axis component because you need to go either in or against the wind, right? So if you're going into a headwind when you go into land, you're going to need more z-axis to get a precise landing. Also with a crosswind as well. It's really, dude, that's smart. That's a runway. It's basically a runway for the booster. It's really, really smart, man. I found a better landing simulation. That's a rocket blowing up. Nice. Yeah, and the size and the momentum, MotoKid, that it has from that z-axis component will overpower the wind. Not by much, but it'll do it. That's really smart, and the key is right there. I'll tell you, the proof is in the pudding. Last for TWR analysis. I mean, sometimes we hover for a long time. Yeah, there you go, G-Core, yeah. I mean, when you're trying to land in a crosswind, dude, I can't imagine that's fun. Higher res, okay. Now, G-Core, actually, let me ask you while you're here. Do you do something like that with a helo? I would imagine so. But, I mean, it's... helicopter, you have a little more dexterity than what you do with a freaking rocket engine, right? Like... I don't know, Doom. It's going to be nuts. Don't get me wrong. It's still going to be crazy. Do you think that they'll try to hover move on the early boosters out in the ocean? Yes. Yes, I do. Alex, where's your analysis here? If I'm reading this graph right, the TWR sequence goes from 5.2 at 7 engines, 2.0 at 3, and then finally 1.2 at 1. Crazy. Say the question one more time. G-Core, if you're trying to do a more precise landing, and I'm talking about like landing out on an unprepared surface, right? So I've seen Blackhawks do, like, I don't know if you fly the UH-60. I forget, to be honest with you. Like, they come in and they drag the tail gear down, and then they put the front... They drag the tail for a second, and then they put the front gear down. I'd assume that's to land in a, you know, and use your momentum to stabilize the landing. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if helicopters do that. I mean, they might. If you have wheels, I suppose. Wonder how many days a year the weather will prevent catches. Well, Bon, that horizontal component, that z-axis component that I'm telling you about should be able to mitigate the problem for the most part. Typically not. It's just slowing down faster that way. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's so legit. I don't understand like 60% of what you're saying, but I'm learning so much in the process. Yeah. Septic, yeah, I know. I do that. I nerd the frick out, man. I nerd the frig out. But long story short, moving the booster this way, so instead of coming down, like straight down like this, coming in kind of sideways will help stabilize the booster more. Because momentum, etc., etc. Dragging the tail is a roll-on landing. We can land to a point and land roll on like a plane, or land to a hover, and then we just descend 3 to 10 or higher. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. G-Core, that must be fun as hell. Don't lie. That must be fun as hell. Tell me it's legit. It's legit, isn't it? I think they land slow because the vortex they create by the propellers can cause the helicopter to crash. It's amazing. Oh, dude, I bet it's freaking feel like a freaking rock star, dude. Also, another thing to note is that the catcher arms can move left and right. See them behind me? They can move, so the thing actually doesn't land on the pad, so if it misses, it's just going to crash right next to it. It shows the engine cut from 9 to 3. I would assume that's what this deceleration is. This is 9 engines to 3 engines, and that's 3 engine to 1 engine, and that's hover, and then that's catch. That's so cool, dude. Man, look at the y-axis rates right there. That's so crazy. I see the plumes down there. Yeah, no, I can see them. There's red arrows down there showing the direction of thrust. From my Marine CH-50 helipilot's friend, the reason they did the massive flare landing was for tripping personnel mines on hot landing zones or unknown landing zones to help save the craft and personnel from mostly the pain of the mines. Oh, interesting. So cool. It's so legit, dude. Once again, it's very rare that SpaceX shares the simulation data, which is really freaking cool. You know that these simulations are running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. They're probably doing like 30 or 40 different simulation scenarios right now. In fact, this high simulation rate is the reason why they can iterate on stuff very quickly. They don't just iterate, they don't just do rapid prototyping with hardware. They do rapid prototyping with software as well. Very agile format, if you wanted to hear that while you were off the clock. Which side of the launch pad is the simulation targeting? The side that's... The ocean is over here. Username. Relative to this. Ew. I wonder what chonking computer they got doing that. A good amount of SpaceX's headquarters, Apatoxin, in Hawthorne is server farm. It's really cool. They got a Cyberdyne Systems logo on the server farm. No joke. Yeah, here, I'll show you. Let me see if I can find it. Somebody will probably find it before me. Yeah, there you go. I mean, that doesn't look like a computer. That looks like networking, but still. You made a 47 in KSB this week. Tricky to fly. Word. Word? That's cool, man. Let's see if we can find another picture. Yeah, there's the server room. It's nuts, dude. It's some, like, mainframe stuff. Once again, that actually... Are those the computers? Yeah, those are the computers. Yeah. Crazy, dude. And it has, like, Cyberdyne on it and stuff. No joke. That's the only picture. That's it. I know that that's it because it's behind the glass. There's also, like like you said, Tessa, there's a T-800 and a Xenomorph guarding it. A full-size model of a T-800 and a Xenomorph. Some Giga Berlin stuff. Oh. What's NASA Men's? Or no, that's not NASA Men's. That's Sawyer Merritt. Never mind. The yard or the exterior Giga Berlin looks awesome. Oh, that's cool. Right on. Maybe no photos for security? Most likely. Yeah, you really... I'm surprised that picture exists, to be honest, man. When I toured Hawthorne, they were like, put your phone away. Don't take your phone out. Just leave it in your pocket. We see it out. We're gonna take it. I'm like, all right. Yeah, man. It's beast mode, dude. Doesn't this mean they would have to strengthen the sides of the booster, since most rockets are built to be strung up and down and only use the tank pressure from side to side? And there's a huge bar that connects the upper dome of the bulkhead to the forward skirt. The forward skirts are pretty damn strong. You should be able to hang the booster from there. Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. I don't know username. But yes, you're right. Yeah, if it was just like if they tried to catch a Falcon 9, it probably wouldn't end well. Dude, the booster must be designed to be able to take a hit from these arms. It must be. It has to. Maybe they beefed up the tank thickness there. There's no way they won't have one of these arms strike the booster in some way, shape, or form. The key is how damaging is it going to be? Do we have a launch date yet? No, but we have a simulation date, which is right now. This is all straight simulation. How slow does it need to go? How slow does it need to go to safely catch 200 tons? Ideally 0. It should be hovering, Kuro. What is Icarus? Icarus is a survival prospecting game that was made by the guys that did Stationeer Sponzister. It's a pretty fun game. Your jaws will not drop, they'll break. Dude, when this happens, they'll do it. I firmly believe that they'll do this. I don't know how many boosters need to be sacrificed to the rocket gods before they do, but I think they'll do it. And when they do, oh my goodness, that is going to be the most ridiculous thing ever. Right now, what takes the cake is 2 Falcon Heavy boosters coming back and landing. That is the craziest thing that I've ever seen, and I did see it. I saw the first Falcon Heavy test flight. I saw those 2 boosters come back down and land. That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in spaceflight. This will take the cake. Have you seen the 3D animation of a booster lifting from Ryan Hansen's space? No, but that's pretty dang cool. They're going to be doing that very soon. Sorry, I'm not too involved in any of this, but will these be used for human transportation, like to replace airplanes? Kyron, they won't replace airplanes in the same way that airplanes didn't replace trains and trains didn't replace cars. You know what I mean? Well, in some places they did. But it really... The point is that it's application-based. I don't think these will replace airplanes. Long distance, though, yeah, maybe. And yes, SpaceX plans to move people around with it. Starship is supposed to be like a 707. You know, if the space shuttle was the DC-3 or C-47 of rockets, Starship is the 707 of rockets. DC-3, C-47 was a good passenger plane for the time. But the 707 really set the standard for how we conduct airline travel in the modern era. You know? Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do, dude. It's pretty gnarly. What does body rates mean? Rotation in degrees a second. Do you think I could take a vacation to the moon or Mars in your lifetime? You're 24. Septic, that's a hard one. That's a hard one to know. I think if SpaceX continues unabated in what they're trying to do, yeah, sure. Yeah, it's possible. Maybe when we retire, dude. But yeah, it's possible. That is that is one of the outcomes that could be a thing from Starship being developed. That is one of the foreseeable outcomes. I don't know if it's definite. Now, can't predict the future. Don't know. But yeah, it's a likely scenario. If Starship does what Elon wants it to do, sure, why not? Can we expect those sort of flights within the next 5 years? I would say that they would need to get it done sooner rather than later, Kyron, because right now launching rockets is a little bit expensive. And there's only so many of these things that they can blow up before they legitimately run out of money. So yeah, I would say that's probably going to happen sooner rather than later. Paper, thank you for the bits. Did you see this already? Intermodals on Starship. Okay, did you cover this? Intermodals on Starship. Just remembered I saw a stepside bed bullnose F100 or 150 at the local Qdoba today. Nice, Grab. Hell yeah. Missed a couple of streams. Why is Minecraft empty? Minecraft? Empty? What do you mean, empty? What are you talking about? Oh, mission control. I just wanted to change it up for the new year, that's all. The opposite of full. This mission control is supposed to be full. Can I ask what kind of nozzle this is? There's so many links. Okay. So that's the simulation stuff for Super Heavy, and this is another space news thing here. What is this first? What are we looking at here? Just got to clean up some tabs, guys. But if they only blow up a few rockets, we might get more Tesla models. Huh? Inlet plenum, fuel elements with moderator, reflectors, safety and control devices, outlet plenum, nozzle throat. This is a nuclear thermal rocket, dude. It's NTR. What's that, Cajun? Cargo Dragon is scheduled to depart the space station at 10:40 a.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. Okay. Cool. This approved test Starship with a Tesla Semi as payload. Agreed. Nuclear thermal. Yeah. Inlet plenum. Liquid hydrogen comes into the inlet plenum. It's heated because it goes through the channels, right? It goes through the channels, and there is moderators on the outside. The reflectors are one side of it. The reflectors can flip over and they can demoderate and increase the neutron flux. And then the hydrogen gets heated up from the increased neutron flux rate. And because it gets heated up, it gets superheated. And the outlet plenum is where the hydrogen gas goes out the bottom. The nozzle throat. This is nuclear thermal. This is just a nuclear engine. The engine in KSP, look, if you could x-ray it, it would look like that. So Astra is now targeting Sunday at 1 p.m. for the launch. Of course they are. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? Okay, let's see what we got here. So this is coming from Sandra Irwin over at Space News. SpaceX wins $102 million Air Force contract. Guys, make sure you go over there and click on the article. So go check it out yourselves. It wins a $102 million Air Force contract to demonstrate technologies for point-to-point space transportation. Huh? The DoD is very interested in the ability to deliver the cargo anywhere on Earth to support humanitarian aid and disaster relief. Right. Okay. The U.S. Air Force awarded SpaceX a $102 million 5-year contract to demonstrate technologies and capabilities to transport military cargo and humanitarian aid around the world on a heavy rocket. Yeah, aid. That's a funny way to spell bullets. But all right. Anyway, the contract is for the Rocket Cargo Program, now led by the Air Force Research Laboratory. Yeah, I heard about this. A viewer was telling me about this the other day. To investigate the utility of using large commercial rockets for DoD global logistics. Greg Spangers, Rocket Cargo Program Manager, said in a statement to Space News that the contract formalizes a government-industry partnership to help determine exactly what a rocket can achieve when used for cargo transportation. What is the true capacity, speed, and cost of the integrated system? Contract was awarded January 14th, was not announced by the airport. The contract awarded January 14th was not announced by the Air Force and was first reported by Aviation Week. This is the largest contract award to date for rocket cargo. U.S. Transportation Command in 2020 signed cooperative research and development agreements with SpaceX and Exploration Architecture Corporation to study concepts for rapid transportation through space. The command last month also signed a CRADA with Blue Origin. I don't know what CRADA means. ODSTs. Contract is not specific to any of SpaceX's launch vehicles. Air Force Research Lab will have access to SpaceX's commercial orbit launches and booster landings to collect key data on environmental signatures and performance. SpaceX will also provide cargo bay designs that support rapid load and unload and are compatible with U.S. Transcom intermodal containers. One of those bad boys, huh? Cooperative Research and Development Agreement. Cool. It's a Connex. It's a TEU. Only a big TEU. I'm wondering if it's like any different than a if it's any different than just a regular shipping container. (16 joint modular intermodal containers, JMICs, JMIC interface fittings). That's what we're looking for, right there, the pallet system. That's what we're looking for. The pallets. Yeah, those things. Yeah, okay. Folded interface deck fitting for non-JMIC application, JMIP, JMIC fittings with JMC interfacing, solid wall variant. Yeah, see, it's foldable shipping crates. You can unfold certain ones in certain configurations, and then you can stack them. And then when you're not using them, the shipping crate folds up. And then you could just stack the shipping crates on top of each other in the folded position. It's really cool, actually. It's really smart. Interesting. Yeah, they can also carry other things. Yeah, see, guys, see that humanitarian aid right there? That's some real humanitarian aid right there, bro. What is this? What is this, Forge? Yeah, that's right, Tessa. Yep. I'm not joking. Oh my gosh, that's off of XArc's website? What in the frick? Yeah, see, there's those damn containers. There's the intermodal pallet system right there. See, it's not a regular intermodal. It's different. It's that JWIC right there. See that? Those things are designed so like when you see like a C-17 parachute drop like a Humvee out the back, they're on those. Wait. What? What in the balls is that thing? What is that? What is that? What is that? It's a Beyblade. Who made this picture? That's off of their website, man. What the frick? Yeah, they want to use these things. The frickin' pallet system. The Joint Intermodal Working Group. Standardization Committee. Joint Standardization Board for Intermodal Equipment. Yeah, that's cool. It's actually really neat. Well, I think we know how the cargo bay is going to work now. EJ, if you want to know what we sling load and how the 448 series of technical manuals on Army pubs discusses all of them. G-Core, I'm hungry. Feed me. You predicted it shuttle style. I don't think so, T-Man, and it's just a coincidence. But yeah, but also... Yeah. Look for 4-48. Let's see. Ah, yes. Yes. Hello? Hello? Airdropping of supplies and equipment, rigging potable water and water purification units. Oh, very nice. Oh, geez. It's 210 pages. Let me find the pictures. Okay. Yep. Yep, crush cores. Yep, crush cores. Interesting. Word. Guess supplies do matter, huh? Yeah, I know. It's almost like you should give your army bullets or else they don't army very well. Okay. Let's finish this up. The contract also includes an option for a full-up demonstration of heavy cargo transport and... The contract also includes an option for a full-up demonstration of heavy cargo transport and landing. Yeah, Forge, we've seen that before. How much extra mass capability do you get for basically only needing to go around... for basically only needing to go into a once-around style orbit? About the same as orbital, no, Mr. Bond. What I'm wondering is how they're going to get the Starship back. How does that happen? What, do you refuel it? How does the Starship land if it's designed to be caught from a tower? How is that going to work? Heavy as in tank mass? Starship can move 100 tons into orbit, so if it can move 100 tons into orbit, I could say it can move 100 tons to Antarctica if you really wanted it to. There's a launch pad on the other side. Yeah. Voodoo locks. Commercial vendors envision fixed... Oh, it's going to answer that. Commercial vendors envision fixed point-to-point transport to establish sites, a commercial service that we are certainly interested in procuring once available. He said the DoD is very interested in the ability to deliver cargo anywhere on Earth to support humanitarian aid and disaster relief. Those words, I don't think they mean what you think they mean. It can move 100 tons to orbit. What can it move to the surface though? Devlin, if it can yeet 100 tons into orbit, it can yeet 100 tons anywhere. You don't need To do a once around like that, you don't need the full 100-ton capacity. And you could, like a once around, dude. A once around basically means 90 tons in any direction, anywhere, 24 hours. Like, you could be there in 15 minutes. You could be in China in 15, that's a bad example. You could be in Japan in 15 minutes. Had a cool conversation about this. What if Starship could simply deliver an extended duration module to orbit, and that module is an independent vehicle with a heat shield and thrusters. It deorbits, goes through re-entry, and once the terminal velocity starts to deploy cargo containers. Yeah, MotoKid, you just described what Baran was supposed to do. Only the EDL modules were nukes. True story. Yeah, Forge, most likely. Last pretty please. Super quick racing question. Is the Nürburgring not raced anymore? Seems like random people with their cars drive on it now. It's a public road. You can drive on it. It's a toll road, technically. Flecken. Yeah, but they do race there. Oh, yeah. What is it, 12-hour Nürburgring and 24-hour Nürburgring? Formula 1 doesn't race there. That's a death trap. Yeah. They do, Hunster. Yeah, the military is a great logistics program. They do move humanitarian aid everywhere. That's true. They absolutely do. Jokes aside. Many areas where disasters occur don't have commercial space force. However, we are therefore exploring a wider range of novel trajectories to mitigate overflight issues, exploring a broad range of landing options for austere sites, researching human factors when landing near populations, and integrating a broader range of cargo, including medical supplies. SpaceX and the Air Force will explore the use of intermodal containers that are compatible with other transport delivery modes. Spanger said there's no specified timeline for a demonstration at this point. AFRL will be leveraging several commercial demonstration launches over the next few years to collect the data. The Air Force does not drive this schedule, but rather will collect data when SpaceX flies relevant missions. A full-up demonstration of heavy cargo transport capability to another location on Earth could be attempted in a few years, but has yet to be decided. Significant heavy cargo from orbit has not been previously attempted. It will fully stress the commercial thermal protection system, landing, propulsion, and landing legs. The Air Force plans to bring in other companies into the program over time. We continue to talk to other launch vehicle providers and will consider awarding additional contracts later in the program. So basically, this is a contract to have the Air Force just straight miring SpaceX landings. Cool. That's really neat, actually. I think that's cool, as long as they just use it for humanitarian stuff, and they probably will. There's really, like, how you gonna move a tank? Why do you need to move a tank on the other side of the world in 24 hours? Like, seriously, like, if you're gonna move a tank or weapons or whatever, that doesn't make any sense. You use the supply lines that you already have. That makes sense for humanitarian aid, because humanitarian aid issues a response quick. The U.S. can strike anywhere in the world in 24 hours because of our existing military supply lines. Basically, we already have the stuff there. U.S. 5th Fleet, U.S. 7th Fleet, pretty good example. It doesn't make any sense to yeet a tank over to the other side of the world, unless you do it like 100 times over in a second and deploy like an entire tank battalion. But that's not tank division, not battalion. Excuse me. That doesn't really make sense. The tanks are already over there, you know. So you can play tank by the seatbelts. Anyway, let's get into the Starship video coming from NASA Spaceflight, and that'll cap off some space news, dudes. There you go, Scepter. Oh yes, hover tanks. So this footage is coming from our buddies over at NASA Spaceflight. Boca Chica Gal, Mary, and Nick are the two dedicated photographers that they have down there. Guys, make sure you go over there and give them a sub, please. Subscribing over there and supporting them over there helps support me here. They really do like moving that tent around, huh, Barrel? Yeah. Yeah, Diego Garcia. Yeah, that makes sense. Single ring was moved into the high bay, 3.6 mil. Interesting. I don't think so, username. But I don't know. Stranger things have happened. One ring only. This video is new to me. Any chance you can give it a little context just to help? So, this video is videos that are shot by my buddies over at a spaceflight news outfit called NASA Spaceflight Septic. I'm not NSF, but I'm pretty damn good friends with them. They let me look at this footage here. Now, what is the footage? The footage is of SpaceX's new spaceport down in Texas. This thing that we're talking about that can go and land anywhere in the world, this is the production and development site for it. This is where SpaceX is building it. And SpaceX has let NASA Spaceflight basically film their day-to-day production and post videos about it. And they let them do it. So we review the footage. I have permission from our buddies over at NSF to review this stuff. I review and commentate on it all the time. Singly, or Sinogly. Yeah, Ansem, that's right. Well, no, Zeppelin, I'm not forgetting it, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Gotta run. All right, G-Core. Fly safe, brother. It's good to see you, man. Don't be a stranger, okay? So this is the nose cone of a starship. And those are the hook points for a starship right there. Hey, we can't all spell do good, what more like, yeah. Maybe you should go to the Derek Zoolander School for kids who can't spell good. Yeah, Leafy, yeah, kind of. Yeah, those welds do look crisp, for sure. Yeah, he did, Blue, which is really funny. That's cool, though, Zeppelin, yeah. Oh, yeah, USNS, man. That's a top of one of the fuel tanks. Back nose cone has two big vents, almost certainly an indicator of two header tanks. Oh yeah, two vents for two header tanks. Yep. Are the welds done by robots? Yes. Some of them are. Some of them are Leaf. Some of them are done by hand. Right, something gets big, isn't it? I'm obsessed with scale, dude. I love showing people how just gigantic some of this stuff is. Two header tanks, which means more fuel for landing. Well, they always had two header tanks, 95. It was the location of the methane header tank. The methane header tank used to be inside of the main methane tank. It's not anymore, and they moved it up to the front of the vehicle with the oxygen header tank. So my guess, huge guess, is that they did that to balance the fact that they put more Raptor engines on the bottom of the vehicle. Because Elon said the other day that newer versions of Starship will have 9 engines in the second stage and not 6. They'll have 6 vacuum and 3 sea level, which is not so.
Go at throttle up.
Oh, nice, Toto. You visited the Mercedes factory in Stuttgart. Yeah, very cool. They plan on stretching Starship as well, no? Yeah, that was the other part of that tweet, Motorkid, yes. Odie Cage, that's a 1-year resub, man. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Excuse me. I think the forward flaps are going to be mounted higher on the nose to keep them from getting into the hypersonic flow, but I could be wrong. See right here, see this disc? The big frisbee that's sitting on its side like that? That is the thrust plate for a booster. So you can see these different holes are the mounts for 9 engines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then there's 3 in the center. 1, 2, and 3. That's a 33 engine booster configuration for that thrust plate, which is the engine that SpaceX says that will be the more finalized design at this point. What a puck. Ferd! That is a one-piece milled aluminum thrust plate. Or at least I think it's aluminum. It could be stainless. I'm not sure. If it's billet stainless, man, that's probably expensive. Yeah, Entropy. It was shipped on that jig. I think so. Yeah. It looks like a giant Jello mold. I hate Jello. Oh, come on, man. There's always room for Jello. I guess it probably would be stainless. It's got to be billet stainless. Oh, that nose cone is moving. That just looks very strange to me. What engines do they use for this? A typical 4-stroke engine like a car or something different? For the rocket septic? It's not a 4-stroke engine, that's for sure. 9.5, brother. What's up, geek? I like red. Strawberry Jello used me. I'm partial to the blue? Are you asking me or are you telling me? Yeah, Shaw, that's what's going on. So septic, the rocket engines are a combustion engine. They are an internal combustion engine, but it's not like a car motor. It does the similar thing, but rocket engines don't have any pistons. So instead of like combusting something to get a piston to go up and down, the rocket engine just uses that combustion and shoots it out of a funnel. Is the Raptor 2-stroke? No, the Raptor is no stroke. There's no piston, damn it. Why not assemble horizontal and then rotate vertical? Barrow, I think that comes down to the material that you're using. I think it's easy, but I think it's easier to make it vertically and then stack it in the high bays. Tipping it over horizontal is... I think they do that for transport purposes in Starship because it's being built down the street from its pad. You don't really need to do that. With that being said, stuff like Falcon 9, the barrel segments for Falcon 9 are made vertically and then they're turned and welded together horizontally. So, I mean, that's a good question, dude. I'm not sure the exact reason, but I'm pretty sure it's just easier to make it vertically. Yes, 95. Yes. Memes. No piston. Does that mean you could say the Raptor engine and the rotary engine are the same thing? Sure. Why not? So they're putting the paneling on the wide bay there. Man, that building is huge. Yeah, Alex, right? Yeah, Leaf, that's true. Thanks for that explanation. I don't understand rockets at all, but I understand cars, so this makes it easier to digest. Septic, I'm a car nutcase, so yeah, it's good. They're still combusting stuff, but so like in a 4-stroke, right, you have the intake valve open, right? And then piston goes down, it sucks all the air, it sucks the air fuel mixture in, right? Intake valve closes, piston goes up, compresses it, power stroke blows it back down, right? That right there, the power stroke of the 4-stroke cycle, a rocket is just perpetually doing that. So instead of an intake and exhaust valve, your exhaust is coming out the bottom, so you don't need that. And because you need to constantly feed it fuel and oxidizer, in this case, the oxidizer is not air. So it's not air to fuel, it's oxidizer to fuel. So you're using liquid oxidizer and liquid fuel. They use liquid oxygen. It's easier to move oxygen as a liquid. You can move it in a smaller area, and you got to take the oxygen with you because it goes up into space. Can't have a naturally aspirated rocket. I mean, some people are trying to work on that, but it's a little difficult. So instead of a valve to put the AFR mixture in, you have injectors, like fuel injectors, for fuel and oxidizer that aren't ticking on and off like they would on a car. They're just constantly going. Rockets have crazy fuel injector plates. It's really like they flow a lot of fuel very quickly. Yeah, and then they combust that, right? They atomize the oxidizer and the fuel by basically having the convergent sprays. The oxidizer and the fuel hit each other at low pressure because they depressurized out of the pressurized fuel system through the injector plate. And then they atomize, mix, get blown up, and get shot out the bottom. Same thing. You're still atomizing oxidizer and fuel, but you're doing it at a much higher pressure, and you're not using it to move a piston. You're using it to move the whole vehicle. But it's the same thing. It really is. Rockets can run lean. They can run rich. In fact, a lot of rockets run fuel rich to keep the temperatures down because if you lean out a car engine, it explodes. Same thing with a rocket engine. Funny story. That's correct, Septic. Yep. So what's all the controversy on the methane tanks? They're not done to Texas's spec for they're not done to Texas's specification for storing liquid natural gas 95. So yeah, they installed more methane tanks, and I think more are coming from what I understand. Oh, geez, Gully. Okay. I think you would fall out of the car if you lean out of a car. Well, not if the doors are closed. But you could. So that's the not the methane tank. That's the test tank that they had liquid nitrogen inside, and it popped yesterday. Guys, from what I can tell, honestly, I don't think they were expecting this tank to pop. I think they were doing a routine pressure test and the tank exploded. I don't think they were expecting it because the area wasn't really cordoned off, and a liquid nitrogen monsoon literally went out into the road, into Highway 4. Don't get me wrong, the road was closed, nobody was hurt. But yeah, I don't think they expected this tank to pop like it did. Yeah, everybody had their cars parked around it and stuff. Yeah. I mean, okay. The liquid nitrogen tsunami, yeah. Look just like the movies. I am invincible! Yeah, really, yeah. No, that is literally wrong. What do you mean, Thomas? The mist just keeps expanding, right? It's not very bing chilling. The only cars left were camera stands. No cars were left without a purpose. How's that different than what I said? Oh boy, Kuro. I'm super excited. Yeah, caveman, right? Yeah, granted, right? Yeah, it's from the NSF video from yesterday, Geek. Yeah, the tank pops and cars get doused in liquid nitrogen, which is really cool. Because people like to twist it to, oh, the pad wasn't clear, SpaceX is irresponsible. Did you not hear the part right before that where I said the area was cordoned off and the road was closed, nobody was hurt, but a couple of cars? Like, I mean, yeah, if that's twisting it to you, dude, I don't know what to tell you. I'm pretty damn sure, though, that, you know, SpaceX probably said, hey, we're closing the road. If your car is there, it's there. You're liable for whatever happens to it, because we aren't. Are there people out there that's twisting it to SpaceX as being irresponsible, Thomas? Really? I would call those people bad actors, or people that fully don't understand the situation. But then again, remember I had a whole conversation earlier in Space News about how people like to just think they know everything about space, but in reality have no idea what they're talking about? Top of the curve, Dunning-Kruger, right? Remember? Yeah, well. I've been just... As I get older, I hear people say stuff, and if I can confirm, basically, after a sentence coming out of their mouth that they have no idea what they're saying, I don't even bother. I remember. I know everything, just not all at once. Well said. Twitter has been horrible about it. I don't need to say anything. I don't need to say anything. It just, yeah. It's Twitter, man. You could be the happiest person ever, and someone will take offense to you being happy. You could say, hey, I hope everyone has a good day, and someone would be like, why? Why do you want me to have a good day today? Are you saying that I don't always have good days? What the hell's the matter with you? Like, that's Twitter. That's Twitter. That's Twitter. Wow. Your mama said, wow. Your happiness has ruined my life. You know, you realize that some people can't have happy days all the time, man, right? Like, dude. What? Show me on the doll where life touched you. Why are you raising that voice? I'm miserable. Stop being happy. It's true. How about Reddit? I don't... On second thought, Liam, let's not go to Reddit. 'Tis a silly place. Yeah. Okay, they have some forms up here for concrete. Okay, what about Tumblr, though? Tumblr still exists? Wait. These guys are welding up some mesh right there. Tacking that sucker right in. I wonder what that mesh is for. Facebook is where the intellectuals really are? The last 30 seconds in chat have been one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. At no point in your rambling, chat
Discovery,
coherent
no throttle
response were you even close to anything that could be considered rational thought. Everyone in this stream is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no channel points. And may Twitch have mercy on your soul. Okay, a simple wrong would have done just fine, but... I've just returned. What did I miss? Ah, nothing. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Why are you calling us dumb? God, what, you think you're better than us? Of course I'm not better than you. I'm right. I'm the streamer. Can you activate channel points? No. I said I award you no channel points, Force. Jeez, weren't you paying attention? Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm messing up. He's on the monitor. He must be God. Oh my goodness. Can you activate my almonds? Wait, what? What? What does that even mean? Oh, dude, look at ship 20. I wonder if this thing is gonna get lifted soon. I mean, they have it locked into the crane, but those lines aren't tensioned. See how they're moving around? They're not under tension, which means it's not, lift is not soon. There's super heavy. That looks like Crytek made the skin? Yeah, but can it run Crisis, though? That's important. Damn! Sorry. So, there was an LN2 explosion yesterday. Oh, yeah. It's really windy, so they're probably waiting until it calms a bit. Yep. What are the boxes? These contain a couple of different things. These taller ones have nitrogen tanks for restarting the Raptor engines. The Raptor engines use compressed nitrogen to spin the turbo pumps, from what I understand. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's for. Considering that they're shooting crazy amounts of nitrogen out the orbital launch platform for fun over the last couple of weeks, I'm pretty sure that Raptors use compressed nitrogen to spin the turbo pumps to start it. Now, this one has, I believe it's a heat exchanger for the closed-loop hydraulic system for the thrust vector controllers. Long story short, this is all the stuff that you need to make the engines do the wiggly. Yeah, do the wiggly. You need that, the smaller box on the left, to be able to get the engines to do that. See that right there? Gonna need a pretty powerful hydraulics and one hell of a compressor to be able to do that. Actually, not compressor, it would be an accumulator. I think. Accumulator? Huh. Or your mom. My mom does not know anything about hydraulics, Scully. What, are you stupid or something? Stupid is stupid does, man. Hold on a second, boy. Are you telling me you're the owner of the Bubba Gump Shrimping Corporation? Yes, sir. We got more money, David Crockett. Yeah, Thomas has a link to the inside cover. Would you please show us the LN2 reaching the car? Yeah, sure. I'll show you after this video. It's pretty much done now. Here. It looks ridiculous, doesn't it? It's awesome. Septic. I mean ridiculous in a good way. It's really freaking cool, dude. Alright. Is this the Vigia from yesterday? I don't think so. Let me go over to NSF's page here. Whoop. Yeah, here, this one. So they were messing with the test tank yesterday. Okay, so just watch the porta potties down here, okay? Uh-oh. Ooh, skadoosh. Literally a monsoon of liquid nitrogen. That is a wave of LN2. That's crazy, man. Yeah, this was yesterday. They had some problems with tank pressurization on that test tank. Thomas, do we know what the tank wall thickness was this? Okay. Rewind 10 seconds. Do we know what the tank wall thickness of this test article was? It was a 4 mil? Interesting. And a close-up, yeah. Look at Lab Padre's thing. Watch the trucks. Uh-oh. Oh, the porta potties. Oh, the trucks. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Swoosh. That's ridiculous, dude. That's a liquid nitrogen tidal wave right there. It's crazy. Bro. Did that damage the truck? I don't know. One of those is Lab Padre's truck, dude. I don't know if most of the nitrogen gas, most of the liquid nitrogen probably evaporated into nitrogen gas by the time it hit the trucks, but odd way to experience a cold front. Yeah, it's extremely cold, like right in this area here. Not here or here so much, but right like this area, right up in here. Yeah, Engine Uber. Well, that's why you test with inert gas, right? Because if it did that with LOX, there would have been an explosion. So is that why Texas is getting a cold wave? God damn it, man. You're a real piece of work, man. Yarg, you're not just the ham. You're the whole pig. God damn it, man. That's great. Yarg, I got a chuckle out of that, I'll admit it. I'm a piece of trash for getting a chuckle out of it, but also sensible chuckle. That nitrogen front made it all the way to Tennessee. It's like 27 degrees out. Oh boy. Okay, so if you're only here for the space news, the last bit of space news that I'm going to tell you is that tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is, what is that, 18 hours from now, there is an Atlas V 501 big slider, or no, 511 big slider rocket launching tomorrow, launching the Space Force 8 mission at 2 p.m. So, yeah, I will be here for that. But we will get into the after hours game now, or the after space news game, which is quickly becoming after hours pretty much. And we will jump into, let's see, what do we want? Icarus, I think is what I said I was going to play. What is Big Slider? The Atlas V Iron Spark that's launching tomorrow has one SRB attached to the side, dude. Just one. Not two. Just one. It slides off the pad. Big Slider. That's what it's called. I'll see myself out. All right, Alex. See you, buddy. You did indeed say Bicarus. Okay. My brother-in-law just got hired at Relativity. That's cool. Aves, that's really neat. Relativity is cool, man. Long Beach, right? That's really neat. I was down there a couple months ago, dude. Down in Long Beach. You gotta get out of Long Beach, homie. Tonight. Rory is back on the pad. Ah, Rory the Rocket Cam. Yes, yes. Icarus is cool, man. It's a good game.